DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks, and you're watching NorbCam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you with another roundtable. It is Wildcard Week, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the playoffs. It is playoff football. Football playoffs is in the air. Seattle's got a home game for the first time since 2016. Oh man, I'm so excited. It's a weird mix of emotions because it's that combination of being getting ready for a playoff game at home and then also remembering the fact that we can't be there. I've been to every single home playoff game since, I don't know, over the past decade plus, and it's weird to not be going to this game, but, you know, that's just the way the world is right now. But it doesn't take away from the fact that our Seattle Seahawks are in the playoffs and rolling, got it rolling right here, and we're going to talk about this game. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, but most importantly, we're going to talk about the rematch for the third time against those pesky Los Angeles Rams, and what does that mean moving forward? What's going to be expect? And I can't wait to hear from the panel. It's been a long time since we've had the full panel together, and believe it or not, we've got all the knights of the round table here together, so I cannot wait to bring them on. But before I do, I just want to let everybody know I was excited because yesterday I was fortunate to partner up, as you might see over my shoulder right here. I've got an official sponsor for the show throughout the rest of the season. I'm excited because Daniel Dovin of Dovin Real Estate, I get to say this, like they say on ESPN, this episode of NorbCam Roundtable is brought to you by Dovin Real Estate. All right, so with all seriousness, Daniel Dovin came to me. He's been watching my show for a few years now. He's a lot like me. He's a father. He's a local guy, born and raised in Seattle, and he loves the content. And he thought, hey man, if I can help you, maybe you can help me too. So Daniel Dovin, he's a real estate agent. So if you or anyone you know is interested in buying or selling a home in the greater Seattle area, but don't know where to start, check out Daniel Dovin of Dovin Real Estate. He's your guy. He was born and raised, like I said, in Seattle. He knows the unique challenges of the local real estate market, so he can help you navigate, negotiate, achieve your real estate goals. So with Dovin Real Estate, you can prepare like Russ, compete like Pete, and win like our hometown division champs, baby. So yeah, if you're in the market for buying real estate in the Seattle area, click on the link. Or you can check out his number right here. There he is. There's Daniel, good-looking guy. You can reach him at 206-310-3362, Daniel at dovinrealestate.com. And if you set up an appointment, a free appointment to talk to him, you will be entered into a drawing to win a rookie card of Cortez Kennedy. How cool is that? All right. So without further ado, let's bring on the panel. Look at this. We got the full Knights of the Round Table here for the first time in I don't know how long. Have we ever actually done an entire show where we had all of us together? I don't think we have we? So this might be the first time.
I think we have. I think we've done like one.
It feels like
we've done a sampling.
I know we haven't done it.
Yeah.
I know we haven't done it this year. So we are doing it. So let's reintroduce for those who are new here from top going around. We've got at the top left there, we got DJ Squabo in the house. Welcome back, DJ Squabo.
Pleasure to be with you. Happy New Year. Great to see everyone able to attend.
Yeah, and looking good. I love that background, man. And then we've got to the right on the top, we've got young Seahawks Martin. What's up, Martin? Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, good to see you too, Norb, and everyone on the round table. Hopefully I can make the most of these 10 minutes.
Okay, well, we will jump right into it. I know you got things to do, understand. To the middle left, we've got the coach, Coach Bill Marsh. Good to see you again, man.
Hey, great to see you. Happy New Year to everybody, and congratulations on the sponsorship, man. That is fantastic. Super excited for you. No one deserves it more than you.
Oh man, I appreciate that, man. It's a mutual thing, so it's all good. And back from with the beautiful view in the background there from his condo on Lake Washington in Kirkland, we've got Brian Abker. What's up, Brian? It's good to see you, man.
Happy New Year's, fellas. Playoffs. We all knew we were going to be here. Now this is where the fun really begins.
Yep. It's exactly where we wanted to be. And the bottom, not last but certainly not least, looking sharp, man. We've got Steezy A. Smith, man. Good to see you too.
What up? How's everyone doing? Happy New Year.
Yes, absolutely. So please make sure, check out the description. All these guys' social media handles and YouTube channels, if they have them, are in the description. So make sure you give these guys some love. Give them a sub, give them a like, all that kind of stuff, because we are all trying to just help each other out, getting our social media accounts and YouTube stuff out there for you. All right, so we are obviously going to talk about the majority of this show. We're going to talk about the Rams. I mean, it's all about the Rams. We've talked almost ad nauseum about this team because this is the third time. How often do you play a team 3 times in a season? So before we get to that, I did want to bring up one little topic here in regards to a little bit of controversy that came out of the last weekend of the football season, and that was the situation with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington football team. Now, there was a lot of hate going on, particularly from Giants fans, because they were accusing the Eagles of not playing. They're tanking the game and not trying to put their best effort. Obviously, the Giants cared a lot about this because they needed the Eagles to beat the Washington football team in order for them to get in the playoffs. That didn't happen, and Coach Joe Judge of the Giants went on his press conference ripping the Philadelphia Eagles about it. I've seen all kinds of posts from different people talking about their opinions on this matter, and I thought we'd be remiss not to talk about this a little bit on the roundtable. So I wanted to kind of get everybody's opinion, because I really have no idea where our panel stands on the issue. So I wanted to just kind of go around the horn and see what people think. And we can just make this kind of a quick crosstalk. We can debate each other, and then once we let things cool down, we'll get into the discussion about the Rams. So I don't know how we want to start this thing, but how I kind of want to start is to start with the guy who didn't feel like this topic was of relevance. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Brian Apker, because in our pre-show, he says, I don't know why we're even talking about this, man, because why do Seahawks fans care about this? Because this really has nothing to do with nothing. But I don't know. You tell me, man. Do you have an opinion on this at all? And just give me your overall take on what you think about the issue, if it's even an issue at all.
Yeah, well, the reason I ask why Seahawks fans care is, look, the regular season's over. Like, we're focused on the playoffs, and that team's not in the playoffs, so screw them. Who cares? My opinion is Joe should shut his mouth. You know what? If he wanted to be in the playoffs, he should have had his team there, not relied on another team. We don't know what Peterson was thinking. We don't know exactly why he made the decision he does. Yeah, it looks like tanking, but you don't know. You have no idea. For all we know, Tua could have smarted off to him earlier in the game. He said, you know what? I'm just going to sit you. Maybe he really does want to get a legitimate look at this quarterback and maybe try to get some trade bait in the offseason. We don't know. So the only reason it would be an issue for the Seahawks is if it determined the difference in who their opponent was in the playoffs. And even then, I don't care. All I care about is the Rams, and then we'll worry about who's next after that.
All right. Does anybody care to disagree? Does anybody have the other opinion that they feel like the integrity of the game was being sabotaged? So who's I? Squabo. All right, let's get your take on this.
Completely disagree. Yeah, no, and I think the majority of the football community actually sides with me on this one. We saw a lot of people after the game go into the press conference. I watched both Doug Peterson's press conference, then his press conference with the GM, and both times he sounded disingenuous. He did not sound like the word. He sounded like he was giving mouth service, and he sounded like he was saying what he had to say so that the NFL wouldn't fine him. In reality, there is no reasonable reason that he would start or he would put in their backup quarterback at that point in the game when you have a rookie quarterback who you are trying to show is the future of your franchise. You're planning on getting rid of Carson Wentz this offseason. I think the secret motive behind this, Doug Peterson knew by Saturday that his job was secured. He wasn't going to get fired. They're moving off of Carson Wentz. They're going to move forward with Jalen Hurts, and his job was secured. So once he knew that, he was like, okay, let's tank for this game. Let's get a better draft pick for last year. The pick went from 9th to 6th, and he intentionally threw this game. Why does he go for it on 4th and goal against one of the best defensive lines, one of the best defenses, when they're down by 3 points and it's a chip shot field goal to tie it heading into the 4th quarter? Why does he put in the backup quarterback when all 14 points were practically scored by Jalen Hurts on his 2 touchdowns? Jalen Hurts is a young quarterback that at least moving forward, you send the message to your locker room like George Kittle sent to the 49ers by coming back early from his injury. We're going to finish off the season strong regardless of the outcome. I don't care if we can't make the playoffs. George Kittle came back and played. Jalen Hurts wants to play. After what just happened where you paid in that same locker room Carson Wentz a whole bunch of money and his backup ended up going and being the Super Bowl MVP, and now Carson Wentz gets all this money and now Carson Wentz gets replaced. How is Jalen Hurts supposed to feel? feel. He just feels like he's going to get cheated on, just like the past two quarterbacks. We don't know what's going to happen down the future. This was a huge momentum game where they could have knocked off a divisional rival heading into the playoffs and eliminated them from the playoffs. That would have been a huge momentum game heading into this offseason, and there was a lot to be gained by doing this. We saw after the game, center Jason Kelce comes out furious about the style, and players in the locker room had to be restrained back from Doug Peterson because he made his locker room so upset by playing with the integrity of football. So I completely disagree with it. I thought it was the wrong thing to do, and I think the football community agrees.
I want to get some other opinions in here. Yeah.
I mean, I want to make sure Squabble has a chance to go get some oxygen. So I have a little rebuttal piece on that one. And
hey, hold on. Hey, Coach Marsh, hold on a second, because I know that little Seahawks Martin's going to have to go soon. So I want to make sure you get your piece in there. So sure. Do you have an opinion on this, Seahawks Martin?
Honestly, like Brian said, this is not related to the Seahawks. What are we supposed to do with this? It's not really relevant to us. Like Brian said, we just got to look at the Rams right now and then keep going on later. But if I were to be an Eagles fan or Giants fan, yeah, I think that Peterson did tank it away. Jalen Hurts should have stayed in there. And I think that the Eagles players have every right to be mad at Doug Peterson.
All right, I appreciate your opinion. How about Steezy? Where do you weigh in on this, Coach Marsh? I'm not ignoring you. You're going to get your shot.
No, I'm fine. That's
Steezy,
fine.
But I want to see Steezy's always very polite and very patient over there, and I want to make sure he gets his shot in there. So Steez.
To be honest, I'm kind of with Brian. I understand what Squab is saying, but I think that at the end of the day, I mean, if I'm the Eagles GM, I'd rather pick number 6 rather than pick number 9. And going into the game, the Philadelphia Eagles had a whole lot of injuries. They had a litany of injuries. There were so many guys injured. I was starting to question whether or not Jalen Hurts should even be playing this game. Dallas, they're starting tight end, multiple starting offensive linemen. I think Miles Sanders, multiple receivers, so many guys on defense. There were a lot of teams that took week 17 off. The Pittsburgh Steelers let the Cleveland Browns in. The Kansas City Chiefs took the week off. And I understand, the situations might be a little bit different. The Philadelphia Eagles started with Jalen Hurts in the game. They had a chance to win the football game, and then going into the fourth quarter, it looked like they were going to win the football game. But it's not like Jalen Hurts was going off. I mean, I think passing-wise, he was completing under 60% of his passes. I understand he had 2 rushing touchdowns, but what if Peterson was protecting Jalen Hurts from potentially getting injured? Squad, we talked about the defense being one of the top defenses in the NFL. Their pass rush is one of the best in the NFL. And with all the injuries that the Philadelphia Eagles have on the offensive line, what if he's trying to protect Jalen Hurts from injury? I'm not exactly saying that Doug Peterson made the right decision. He kind of tricked us all because he said that going into this football game, they were going to try to win this game, despite all the injuries, despite all the absences on their team. But I think where he messed up is by kind of, going back on his word and kind of lying to the public. But I have no problem at all with the Eagles tanking. I mean, so many teams tank all the time. So many teams take weeks off all the time. And it's not, and I'm with Brian as well, it's not the Philadelphia Eagles' job to ensure that the Giants get into the playoffs. I felt real bad for what Joe Judge had to say. I watched his press conference. I feel really bad. But your team finished 6-10. And I understand Saquon Barkley, one of the best running backs in football, he got injured back in week 2 with a torn ACL. And so the fact that they even had a chance to get into the playoffs, that's respect to them. Hats off to them. But to me, what it kind of sounded like with Joe Judge, it's like he was blaming the Eagles for them not getting into the playoffs. The Eagles shouldn't have to care about whether or not the Giants get into the playoffs. Yeah, that's a division rival. And yeah, you could have stopped another division rival from getting into the playoffs. But, I mean, at that point, it's kind of which team would we prefer to get into the playoffs, the Washington football team or the New York Giants? And, along with that came with, instead of picking at 9, picking at 6. And who knows, maybe you land a Jamar Chase, maybe you land a Devontae Smith, because the Philadelphia Eagles badly need a wide receiver. And so I have a hard time believing that at number 9, either of those guys will still be on the board. Now at number 6, those guys could still very well be on the board. You can have your pick of the litter, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith. Maybe you want to go in a different direction and take an offensive lineman, Penei Sewell. Maybe they're not even locked in with Jalen Hurts. Maybe they want a Justin Fields. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I think that the Philadelphia Eagles, they didn't do anything wrong. But Coach Doug Peterson, he kind of maybe, there's a little bit of a little bit of blame to go on him just because he lied to the people, saying that, we're trying to win this football game. And ultimately he made it seem as if he wasn't with some of the moves that he made. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to blame Coach Peterson for what he did. I mean, he has won a Super Bowl. a lot of people were quick to point out that, oh, he should be fired. You know, this was a dismal year, but he knows what he's doing. I think that at the end of the day, it'll work out in the end.
And no one ever lies at the podium. I mean, everybody tells the truth. So, of course, how could he do that? I would have just loved it if he went up there and said, yeah, we tanked. And that was the plan. I think they could have avoided a whole lot of trouble. But, that's the situation we're in. So, Coach Marsh, I know you've got an opinion on this, and I know you have a way of tying this in a little bit indirectly or directly to the Seahawks to make it a little more of a Seahawk matter. Let's hear what you have to say about that.
I'm going to tie it in indirectly and directly. Now, Steve, I think you brought up some just excellent points in terms of the draft and some of the things, because what if all of a sudden they get up at number 6 versus number 9, they end up with a guy like Seahawks Martin has behind him, or a DK Metcalf type or something like that. Nobody's going to be complaining in Philadelphia at that point. So, and if it's not on Sunday night football, it's not national television. But here's a couple of the tie-ins. This is relevant to us out here, number one, because Doug Peterson is a Ferndale High School guy, and Ferndale's a couple hours north of Seattle, for those of you who aren't from this area. So he's a local guy. So I root for him from afar, just as a local product. But here's the piece that to me that really stands out. And it's the piece we've been hearing all week, or, since this happened, people getting upset and integrity of the game and everything else. So let me give you a quick hypothetical. Let's say that there's a team where a certain player is trying to get, let's say maybe an extra incentive or something like that. But the game is still in the balance. And all of a sudden the play, when you expect them to take a knee, they run a play where that person who's trying to get an incentive gets a toss to him. Now, said player gets the toss, but all of a sudden a hard blitz comes off both edges. One hard blitz off one edge nails the guy at the knees, and he's hurt. The backside blitz came and saw that there was a pass, so he took a free shot. And let's say the hypothetical quarterback's wearing number 3. I would question, what is the integrity at that moment? Was that team playing to win the game? Was the integrity in question? Were they playing for themselves? Were they playing for a specific player? And at that point in the game, let's say that they say that, they don't know the scores of the other games, even though I believe that they do. But players will usually say, hey, if the game's going on at the same time as us, don't let anybody know what the score is in the stadium. So let's say they didn't know what, happening with Green Bay or New Orleans. Obviously, the situation I'm talking about is with Seattle, right? When I saw what took place, knowing NFL locker rooms the way I do with just the people that I've been able to talk to and that I've known over the years, the amount of money that, that Moore's going to get. And I love that he got it. Just so don't get me wrong here. I love that Russell created it, but that went through the wide receiver coach. It went through the quarterback coach, and then they communicated about it. So it wasn't, kind of came across like Russell at the press conference. Hey, I called in the huddle and I made the play because I just love the guy and want to help his kid. That wasn't the case. That was a coordinated effort to get a player an incentive. That'll guarantee it, because it's happened so many times. People would have chipped in to get more his $100,000. And the fact that he took a reduction to play for us, that to me is a moot point. But to me, that is where the integrity of the game really comes into question. And more so, the risk that we put ourselves in, because if Moore gets hurt, we're talking about it. Or those that are old like myself and Abker and Norb, I know you're kind of old, the old Pisarcik fumbles the football. What if there's a scoop and score and San Francisco scores on that, going the other direction? Now what are we talking about? Why did we do that? So that's the component that I would look at from a coaching standpoint of, yes, I get that we want to give them money because it's a business, but then all of a sudden, is it a game or is it a business? Because it was a business on our play when we were doing it, but it was a game for all those guys in Philadelphia that are complaining.
Yeah.
Norb, can I chime in?
Go ahead.
Because those are some great points, and in the correlation between the Eagles and what the Seahawks did, your comparison is that the integrity of the game was messed with on both parts, which we are assuming, and I'm with you. I assume the same thing, and we know it for sure in the Seahawks game because it was told to us. The integrity of the contracts are: here's your incentives. The idea with the contract is this is what you are to earn with these numbers. Correct. These numbers are supposed to help the team be better. That's why we're paying you the incentives. So the shovel pass didn't do anything to help the team be better. It helped the player. And but like with you, I love it. I'm all for it because these players get screwed left and right all the time on different contracts.
And again, he took a reduction to return.
Totally with it.
So I love that he got that.
So let's not get all indignant about the integrity of the game. It's a business, and everybody's in it for the business aspect. The players, the coaches, the GMs, the owners. It's all about business.
And that's why they're talking about J.J. Watt potentially coming to Seattle. Now, how excited are we going to be about that?
Oh.
But if it's just about the game, If it's just about the game, he would just stay in the city and everybody would stay in their cities and everything else. So it's just funny to me when professional athletes on one hand say one thing, on the other hand, the other thing, and then coaches get upset. Hey, if it happens in Seattle, we get to go from the number 9 pick to the number 6 pick in a game that means nothing. I'm saying, good, great. That's fantastic. Sorry that our guys are upset, but no one
And you
care.
get to screw over one of your biggest division rivals at the same time.
Absolutely. You tell me you would do something to be excited to help the Rams out or the Cardinals or the 40. Heck no. Not happening.
It's a win-win,
and just to add to that, because I think we've covered most of the points. Although DJ may want to try to Squabble may want to try to rebuke the point. Just to add that is until they change the system where the worse you do in the previous season, the better your draft position. This will always be a recurring issue. I don't care what it is. Now Jets fans are freaking out, going, "Man, we should have tanked because we lost Trevor Lawrence because we won and now lost." But that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, the integrity is great.
Isn't that the antithesis of what we're talking about?
That's the antithesis. So you could go, hey, the integrity is great, but guess what? You just missed out on maybe one of the best quarterbacks who could turn the generation around.
Knew how to tank for him.
Yeah, exactly.
But going to the other side of it, so there's that point that there's always going to be that motivation to not win if you can move yourself up a couple notches. But then even in our game, weren't some of you guys thinking, Green Bay looks like they're pulling away. New Orleans looks like they got this game in hand. Maybe we should start resting some guys because, crap, look what just happened. Jamal Adams, bad shoulder. Oh, look. We've got Jarran Reed limping off the field. Oh, man. And now we've got Rashad Penny limping off the field. For what? For a game where we gained absolutely nothing in terms of stats and placement. Maybe intangibly getting that win and scoring the touchdowns at the end of the game made the team feel like, okay, we didn't just stink going into the playoffs. We actually got a win. We got the comeback. We got the 2 touchdowns. Otherwise,
we broke the stadium curse. Don't forget that. We did break the stadium curse.
There's that too. But I'm sure it crossed everybody's minds to think, shouldn't we just rest these guys because we just didn't want exactly what happened to happen. We had a major injury to some of our key players. And number one, the top of that list, Jamal Adams. So, I was thinking already about that. Already thinking, screw the integrity of the game. I want my team to be healthy next week. So,
anyway, like you said before, don't we see this all the time in Week 17? I mean, we brought it up. People brought it up, but it has gone on forever, including with Seattle. And I brought this up last night that there have been multiple seasons, specifically 3 seasons in the history of the Seahawks, where they were in a position where it didn't matter if they won or not, so they rested their players. So we've done that, and we've messed with the integrity of the game. We've done those type of things. So to me, again, if it's not a Sunday night football game, there's maybe 3 cities talking about this.
And if the Giants didn't have it so much hinging on their future, and it was just another loss by the Eagles, nobody would have given it a second thought. It's the fact that another team lost their chance because that happened. Now, I know people want to
it's not a rival like Seattle and San Francisco. Like, they're rivals, but then they go hang out and do stuff together. New York and Philadelphia people in general don't like each other, right? So I mean, the fact you have two of the strongest teams that a rivalry like that, to me, that's kind of the beauty of it. I love the fact that they're all going nuts, but to see Golden Tate, and again, I know he's former Seahawks stuff, but once you leave Seattle, man, sorry, you're done. To see those guys tweeting and doing everything during the game, like win your division, win it outright, it's not a problem.
Yeah, and the reality is, I think any of us who are going to go on our soapbox and talk about this, if it were the other way around and it was like the Cardinals had to beat the 49ers for us to get in the playoffs and they didn't play, we'd be pissed too. We'd be kicking ourselves going, we should have just won one more game and gotten in. But the reality is we'd be mad too if we were in that position and the other team wasn't trying. But that's the system that we're in. So I know people want us to move on, but I want to give Squabba one last chance to rebuke the point before we move on. So, Squabba, do you have anything else to say since you're kind of outnumbered in this equation?
Take a deep breath, man.
No. I greatly appreciate it. Like, I like the fact that you guys all disagree with me, because you guys actually gave me a lot of points throughout that little as we went around the table that I really disagree adamantly with pretty much everything you guys said. First of all, when you talk about Nate Sudfeld, you're talking about a journeyman at best. He's been there for multiple years. You've seen what you got with him. You don't put him in because
he's been injured.
You don't. Is he the future? You don't believe in what he's been there multiple years.
I want you to speak to the Seahawk thing. I want you to speak to what the Seattle Seahawks did and how that relates. Did we ruin the integrity of the game?
Okay.
By trying to get a guy.
I will 100% talk about that. But then I ask that you let me get through my points after that without interruption. Like I got a whole bunch of points I got to get through.
The floor is yours.
The Seahawks thing, first of all, I think that you guys are wrong about that too. I agree with the play because of the fact that, first of all, David Moore didn't even make $1 million this year. We're talking about one of the least paid players on the Seahawks. This incentive was more than 10% of his contract. As well, this is a player, and you heard Russell Wilson in press conference afterwards saying that they're doing this for this man's family. It's not just for him. Yes, he is paid very well in terms of just money compared to all of us, but his family still needs money, and this is for his family, getting him that extra $100,000. I love the idea of doing that. Now, talking about the Eagles game, and you guys brought up some good points if we were having a different discussion. And Steezy, I'm talking about you. When you talk about it's the same situation as Kansas City and Pittsburgh resting. Kansas City and Pittsburgh have games this week. Philadelphia does not. That's a very different situation. Heading into the offseason, as a head coach for this franchise, mark my words, let this be the moment right here. Doug Peterson will be out in the next 2 years in Philadelphia because of how he handled this situation. He has lost the locker room. His center went out and spoke out against him. How are you going to ask players to go out and give you 100% every single practice, every single day in training camp, every single game, if you're not going to give them 100% trying to win at the end of the season? These players don't know if they're going to be on this team next year. They don't know if that 6th overall pick is going to help them next year. It's going to help Peterson. It's not going to help the players. That's why the players are so upset about it. The players are going out trying to make film. Plus, you guys are talking about how it's great that they got a better pick. What did they do with their pick this year? They passed on the guy, Justin Jefferson, who in his final year in college had triple the receiving yards and touchdowns as Jalen Reagor, for Jalen Reagor, who ended up dropping a key pass in this game that could have changed the ball game slightly. So they already suck with their draft picks clearly at the top of the draft. Justin Jefferson is in contention for Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Doug Peterson wrote a book called Fearless. So why are you playing afraid that Jalen Hurts is going to get injured when that doesn't match anything that you're doing ever? They're the team that goes for it on 4th down. They're the team that wrote the book called Fearless for calling Philly special in the Super Bowl. That it goes against your entire philosophy, and the locker room knows that. That's why Peterson's going to be out in the next 2 years, because he lost the locker room by doing this.
So, Norm, I think I have a segue for us here. Okay. And that is with our guys that set a couple records this weekend, right? With Metcalf and Lockett, just, so excited. Congratulations to them for breaking the record. Largent doing a really, really, really neat tribute video to him. But what I liked was the fact that it didn't look like we were trying to force those guys getting the record. Now I get that's not incentive, right? It's not, but it is kind of the same way that guys want to break records. But I liked that it didn't look like Russ was trying to force feed both of them. Let's get them the record. It happened in the process of trying to win the game. What I don't want to see happen is that we start setting these precedents, like Abker said, where the incentives or records or anything else, that we're trying to do those things at the expense of what we're trying to accomplish just as a team and as an organization and those type of things. So that's, that'd be a point that I would be concerned with. But to me, that was the neat part as we start talking about what took place, was having two guys that broke a record, did it right in that's it. It wasn't at the very end, like, hey, let's just throw it 3 or 4 times to try to get those guys to break records or anything like that. Because we all love Steve Largent. I mean, he's on the Mount Rushmore of Seattle sports out here. And so if that would have happened, I think there'd have been a lot of issues with that. So just neat that guys broke records. Largent did some cool stuff. So excited, some really cool things that did happen. And again, I don't want loss on anything. That happy that the guy got the incentive, got the money, all that type of stuff. So I think we can kind of put the incentive of what took place back east aside and look ahead.
Yeah, and I just real quick, I just want to say to Squabo and to Norb, I concede you guys were right. This topic was worth a conversation, obviously, because there's a lot of passion on both sides. My initial feeling was, hey, if I'm a Seattle sports fan, all I want to hear right now is what's going on with the Seahawks heading into the playoffs. But I will concede you guys had this nailed. This was worth a conversation.
Well, some people in the chat, I think, agree with you. They're like, ready, let's move on. I don't understand. but Steezy's so politely over there raising his hand. Well, you can just jump right in, man. This is crosstalk. You don't have to be polite.
Where you fit in, man.
You can say, shut up, Norb. I need to talk. Steezy, what you got?
No, if I may, I just kind of want to end this by saying one last thing. Don't hate the game. Hate the play. I mean, don't hate the play. Hate the game.
Yeah.
Like the system is in place for tanking. Like teams are literally incentivized for tanking. And so if Philly has incentive to tank, don't get on Philly, get on the system. Blame the system. Don't blame the player. Don't hit the player, hit the game.
That's a great comment, man.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm saying it's going to screw them over down the road. Doug Peterson's going to get fired, and the Eagles are going to suck because their locker room is split.
Well, we will. I guess time will tell, and we'll find out what the ramifications are of everything we're talking about today. It could be nothing, or like you said, this could all come true, and I'll be going, Squabba, you were right. The Eagles went down with the ship sinking into the ocean because of what happened. I got to mention it because Chef Jack Attack was in there with a few super chats. He says, guess who's back? You got this. He also did a couple other ones in here where he said, sorry, I just mentioned, not a good start off with Jalen Hurts' relationship. Kind of agreeing with you there, Squabbo. Kyle Anderson also said, should we be concerned about our last performance? Now, this is a perfect segue, Kyle Anderson. Your super chat right there is saying, should we be concerned about our last performance? That's a perfect way to segue into, I guess, our little bit of a look back at the last game. I don't know how much we want to weigh what happened in that game to what's going to come next, but let's talk a little bit about the performance on Sunday. Certainly, we got the win, but it was not exactly in, dominating fashion. So let's talk a little bit about what you guys felt looking at the way Seattle played on Sunday against the Niners. Let's start with Brian. Let's start with you, man. What's your overall feel coming out of that game? You know, we're 12-4, we got the win, but how confident do you feel after what you saw on Sunday? Should that matter or not? How that game went?
Well, you know me, Norb. I don't judge what's going to happen in the next performance based on the last performance, because every team's different, every situation's different, every prep session's different, every film study's different, every style of matchup is different. Even when you're in the division with a team that you know well and you've got tons of film on, every matchup's different. So it didn't waver my confidence at all. Was I disappointed to not see Russ click like the potential MVP that we saw in the first 6-7 games? Of course. That's not the situation that they're in right now. And we know that Pete Carroll likes to do this. He likes to control the ball. He likes to be within shouting distance or a little bit ahead rolling into the fourth quarter and then dominate that fourth quarter. And that's exactly what this team did. Russ showed up big when it mattered. That's what his moniker is. That's what we've come to rely on him and know on him for. So I don't have any problem with the way that game went rolling into this game against the Rams. And I don't look back on the way we played against the Rams and won and lost both this season. It's a whole new scenario, and I feel like the Seahawks are in great position for this upcoming game.
And Brian, I have to say this. I put a shout out on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it, but I said a specific tweet to you that I said, all along this whole season, you have been saying the whole time, in the midst of the Fire Ken Norton storm, you kept staying by your guns that this team will be fine. This defense will be fine. Despite all the different pressures coming around from everywhere that they wanted to see Norton gone and that everything was wrong. But I got to give kudos to you, man. You were right. I mean, this defense is right now the best thing going for this team. And, it's hard to argue that this defense could be playing any better, any contrastingly better than the way they started. I can't think of a team who's started so poorly on one side, especially statistically, to turn it around almost complete 180. And you were right on that one, man. So shout out to you. I did it on Twitter officially, and I'm doing it here on the show.
Appreciate it.
So
Appreciate it.
Great
and,
insight.
They didn't come around as quickly as I had hoped or anticipated, and that had a lot to do with the injuries and Jamal Adams being out for quite some time and some other significant factors in the injury front. But yeah, and I feel the same way about the offense. Even going against this daunting Rams defense and pass rush, I feel the same thing, the same way about the offense for Saturday.
All right. Well, that's a good positive note to get us started with. Let's go to Steezy. Steezy, what was your feeling coming out of that game against the Niners on Sunday?
It felt good. We got the W, finished the season 12-4 for the first time since 2014. Last time we were in the Super Bowl. DK Metcalf set the franchise record for the most receiving yards in Seahawks history. Tyler Lockett set the receiving record for most receptions in Seahawks franchise, or in the Seahawks in a season. And Russell Wilson, he finished with 40 touchdown passes for the first time in his career. And I think that, in the fourth quarter, we came alive. Yeah, I was a little worried. I was a little disappointed as well. As like what Brian said, we got to a very, very slow start. But I think that, at the end of the day, I'm really not worried. This week we got the Rams, who we'll be playing with either a backup quarterback or with Jared Goff. It doesn't really matter who we get. But yeah, I don't want to. A lot of people are kind of, they're down just because of what happened this past week. I don't think there's really any reason to worry. Our defense is still one of the best in football, if not the best, since week 10, week 11. That's still there. Jamal Adams, he's going to play. All of our running backs are healthy going into the playoffs. Knock on wood. Last season,
do we know that for sure? I mean, I saw a quote from him that he said, "No matter what, I'm going to play." Do we know for sure injury wise that he's not limited in some way? I guess we're all wondering about that. You sound very confident.
I think when the Prez tells you he's going to play, he's going to play.
Well,
he said he's 100% too. He said he's going to go full go.
All right,
full go, no limitations. And I understand players. They kind of lie sometimes. They say like, "Oh, I'm healthy, I'm good enough to play," and then later on you're like, "Oh, hold on, he's not playing." And so, there is always that possibility. But with the Prez, I mean, I was just watching his press conference prior to the live stream. He seems very adamant about wanting to play this game. It is going to be his first career playoff game.
He was with the Jets. He was with the Jets. Yes. He didn't even know there was such thing as a playoff system.
Well, when you see him there, celebrating, smoking cigars at the press conference, and the way he would not miss this for the world. I think half his arm would be hanging out. He's still probably playing. So I mean, the fact that it wasn't a leg injury, like the groin injury he had earlier, because there are certain injuries I know that you can kind of play through. I'm not to say that I know anything about shoulder injuries, but if you can't run, you can't play. But there are other things. I mean, he played with broken fingers, dislocated fingers. I mean, these guys play through stuff that I would be like crying like a baby in the corner if I had that happen to me. I don't know about you guys, but the pain these guys go through is a whole nother level. So, yeah, when I see him with the fire in his eyes and how much he's excited to be at this point, yeah, I don't think anything could stop him from getting to that game. So that's reassuring, definitely. So, Squabble, how about you? What's your take?
Man, I don't want to disappoint you guys, but unfortunately, I agree with Steezy and with Brian. We got nothing to worry about coming out of this game, guys. Honestly, it's exactly what I predicted. We didn't do the roundtable last week, but on my shows, I predicted the score to be 27-24. The game ended up being 26-23. Had we made that PAT, I would have been 1 point off because this was a game where Seattle went into it against an opponent, and I'm not going to go all the way into the Eagle tangent again. But the 49ers had the exact opposite approach of the Eagles. And I knew that heading into it based on the fact that they practically knocked Arizona out of the playoffs the previous week for no reason other than just to do it to a divisional opponent. The 49ers sacrificed draft picks for that because they wanted to go out of the season. George Kittle coming back from injury rather than just resting it, putting up the cleats for the rest of the season like Christian McCaffrey did, essentially saying, I'm going to be with my brothers and we're playing to win football games. So I knew they were going to try really hard, and that's exactly what they did. They really wanted to beat Seattle in this game. They really played one of their best games of the season. Seattle, this is actually good for Seattle because over the past 3 weeks, and Pete Carroll brought this up in press conference, we've been playing some really good defenses. Washington, the Rams, and then the 49ers. Now we get to play the Rams again. That's playoff caliber defenses, and we've been playing playoff caliber games. Close fashion, we're going to trail. We're not going to always have the lead. It's going to be 6-6 at halftime in some of these games. And as we continue to find ways to win these games, Pete Carroll said it best in press conference when he said, this is what Russell Wilson does. We're going to trust him. He is legit. He is the reason that we're going to win football games, and hopefully it's manifested on Saturday. So I think we have nothing to worry about, and I completely agree with the fellas.
Wow, nothing to worry about. I'm a worrying kind of guy, so I'm gonna worry, but I will try not to. I'll try to listen to his Steez.
But no, real quick, I mean, I know we say this all the time, but, the fact that, this was a divisional game, the game was supposed to be close. The game was supposed to be played out the way that it was played out. San Fran, Arizona, LA, all those teams are designed and constructed to defeat us, to beat us. Unlike, every other team in the NFL, these teams, they know the inside and the outs of the Seattle Seahawks, so each and every single time we got to expect these games to be this close. We got to expect these games to be the nail biters that they are. And so with that being said, I know there is another divisional game coming up against the Rams, but quarterback situation obviously is going to be very different. So,
and I just want to interject because Steezy brought up a great point and said it twice now about the quarterback situation. That's actually the only thing that has me slightly concerned because Seattle does not have a good recent history of doing well against backup quarterbacks that they don't have a lot of film on. I would feel better if a healthy or preferred injured Jared Goff were to be able to take the field. I would actually feel better about that. Now, we should feel great if we're playing a backup quarterback with no experience who's going to be crapping his pants because it's the bright lights of the playoffs, win or go home, and his whole team is banking on him, and he hasn't faced that kind of pressure yet in the NFL. We should feel good about it. I'm just a little bit of the opposite. I might be in a Norb camp as far as a worrywart about that one little thing.
Well, and that's a perfect transition for me to toss it over to Coach Marsh, because we did our little Coach's Corner early in the week, and we spoke quite a bit about this. Coach Marsh, your thoughts, I guess a little bit about the game on Sunday, but transition to this, to the quarterback discussion.
I'll definitely come back to the quarterback piece. I think if you look back over the years, we're at almost a 90% clip in terms of games going into the fourth quarter where we are within 7 or ahead by no more than 7. Right, that's the way we play. Right, run the ball, stop the run, play great defense. Those are the type of things that we need to do to continue to win. The other thing is trending is a big thing. And if you look at our 2 Super Bowl seasons that we went, and even going back to the 2005 we were trending as a team and trending on offense, trending on defense in terms of how well we were playing heading into the playoffs. We weren't backing in. Many teams are backing into the playoffs, or they've played 500 ball. I mean, we've been playing exceptionally well. Russell has over 4,200 yards this year, and I think most people at halfway point would have thought he'd get to 4,000. I don't think as a totality you would have thought that, let alone have 40 touchdowns and I think it's just 13 interceptions, 7 of which came in a 3-game span. So he's playing the way I want to see him play. Our defense is top defense over the last 6 weeks, from a defense that was the worst. People are saying the worst in the history of football. So the fact that they found their personality, I feel like coming out of the game, it is what we thought it was going to be in terms of, like we've said, the divisional rival. Teams are going to play tough. Certain teams just match up against us well, and we struggle against them, and they just happen to be in our division. But when we face the 49ers and when we face the Rams, it's just always going to be a tough game because of the matchups. But I felt, other than a few things that we talked about in the Coach's Corner, overall, you kind of know going into the fourth quarter it's going to be tight, and then Russ is going to take over. My concern is, do we hang on to that too much? As it leans towards the Rams this week, quarterback really scares the heck out of me. Before that game that they played against the Cardinals, I was thinking the same thing, like, hey, great. Hope that he plays and Goff doesn't play. Now I am hoping, even though it's looking like it's not happening, I wish Goff was playing this week, because this kid can run and run and run. And there were, he only rushed for 6 yards, but those were actually 6 rush attempts that I was counting last night. He had some other scrambles that were fantastic. First pass was an interception within his own 15-yard line, and he comes right back, marches him down. I get it. He didn't lead him into touchdowns, but neither did Russ, right? They move along and they trust their defense to bend but don't break. We do the same thing. But anytime you face a quarterback that's mobile and can move, like Brian said, we struggle against teams that either have a new quarterback or have a quarterback that can run. And this kid, I mean, he can move, and McVay will build things around him just like he did last week.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, do you go with the starter who we're familiar with, or is the wild card guy the one that could be more damaging? And like you said, we've had some not great games. We all, I think everybody's thinking here as we're watching the time slip away and realizing, okay, we're stuck in the number 3 seed no matter what. We're all, I'm sure, all at some point going, man, that Giants game. If we had just fallen on that block punt, if we had just thrown one less interception, that's the one game that you feel like really slipped through our fingers.
If we ranked all the teams, at least for me, this was the team I was hoping we'd get to play. Of all the teams we would potentially end up playing going into the playoffs, I really like our path. And this is the team, again, because of their quarterback situation. Again, if Goff is to play, we know what type of defense to play. This team, I think we just need to get back to our aggressive point of play, which we didn't do last week against San Francisco. We sat in that 4-3, cover 2 for really a lot of the game, and then kind of a cover 3. It wasn't until the fourth quarter we got aggressive on defense, more aggressive on offense. We'll do that coming right out of the bat, I think, and I think we're going to be fine.
So my takeaway,
fine meaning fourth quarter tight ball game. Russ wins the game.
Fine. Our hearts and pacemakers won't be fine, but the end score will be fine. Well, that was kind of looking at that 49er game. I felt like that it brought me back to the true core of what Seattle football has and always probably will be, which is following that whole, can you win the game in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter? No. I mean, we had, 5 yards of total offense in the third quarter, and then they just poured it on in the fourth quarter to do enough to win that game. And it felt like almost they were waiting to step on the gas to wait for that fourth quarter. And that, how many times have we seen that happen, right? I think that whole anomaly that was the first half of this year where we were just piling on the points was not what we're used to. And it feels like we've gone back to, here's what we are. Like you said, we play good defense, we run the ball, and we do just enough on offense, and particularly in the fourth quarter, to win the game. It's not good for the soul. It's not good for the heart for us fans, but it's what works. It's what has gotten us in the playoffs. 8 out of the last 9 years, or 9 out of the last 10 years, just whatever it's been since Russell Wilson has been here and Pete Carroll has been here. That has been the formula, and it's that showed itself in true form in the game against the 49ers. As far as the Rams, I guess this is a good point, to talk about what are the keys. You guys say we're going to be fine, but specifically, what do we have to do? To me, what I feel was the fact that they do have tape on what they did last week is going to be helpful, because what I saw was a lot of when that quarterback went on the run, there was a lot of not containing the edge. And I feel like Seattle's going to be a lot better at that. They have already been a lot better at that in containing those mobile quarterbacks. Kyler Murray didn't do jack in that game. Now, granted, maybe he was injured, but I feel like we were giving up that kind of stuff middle of the season when we were still struggling. But as of late, I think we've been playing a lot more discipline, a lot more sound. It just feels like, and again, this is a lot from what I see in your coach's corner breakdown, that I don't think Seattle will fall into the traps that we saw happen last week when Los Angeles was getting away with all these different, just to me, it looked like a lot of technique things that they weren't prepared for. Well, Seattle's prepared now. I mean, you got a tape that shows what this guy did for an entire 4 quarters. So I would not think that Seattle's going to repeat those same mistakes. You can't, fool me twice on that one. So to me, I feel like that game, the fact that that's on tape now, we're not going to be shocked and like, oh my gosh, we didn't see that coming, because you got this whole game in there. So, but what are you guys' takes on, what do we got to do to, what are the keys? I know the keys to the games, are obviously sometimes you just rehash the same ones, but we're being very specific now with the Rams. So are you guys prepared to kind of break down some specific things as to what we got to do to win this game? Let's go with Abker. Let's go back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the one where the stats show 100%. This is the absolute most important key to the game. Norb, you've been crushing on this all season long. I think Squabo and Steezy, you guys have hit it too. Turnovers, man. The Seahawks cannot afford to turn the ball over, period. They just like Pete's mantra, it's all about the ball. And this game is going to be as important as they come when it comes to taking care of the football. And then if they can, on top of that, go get the football themselves and make a turnover or two, that's going to be the difference in this ball game.
Wow, I like the simplicity. And to add on to that, I felt like watching that 49ers game, as much as it was killing me, how we weren't doing much productivity-wise in the third quarter, I felt like Russ is aware of what happened in the middle of the season, what went wrong, because there's so many turnovers he was responsible for, balls he should never have thrown, putting himself at risk. And I felt like watching that third quarter, even though we weren't generating yardage or, getting points, he wasn't sinking the team by forcing things and causing turnovers, which would have resulted in the game loss. So I feel like there's just a better awareness that is crucial, that despite having a slow spot, if you don't turn the ball over, you're still in the game. Whereas you give the ball over 1, 2, 3 times, you're out of the game down 2, 3 scores. So I love your point there, and I've been saying it all season, and the stats back it up. Every time we win the turnover battle, we win the game. So that one goes without saying for sure.
And the last one that I'll put in there, and this is an X factor that may not even happen. It's kind of a reach, but there's a defensive end that we drafted out of Tennessee named Darrell Taylor, who I've been raving about since the beginning of the season. I didn't realize how bad his injury was, but they have activated him. He doesn't probably know anything about how to play in the NFL yet. He may not get in the game, but if they do give him a few snaps, this kid is unbelievably athletic. athletic. And if he can just make a play or two, he could make the biggest play of the game with his athletic ability. So if he gets in the game, keep your eyes on Darrell Taylor.
I've been waiting to see this guy just because I have not watched really anything on him, but I've heard so much about his play, and it's been like this Christmas present that you didn't get to open last Christmas, and you have to keep like, no, we'll save it for next Christmas, and you're like, I want to open it now, and finally it's like, what? It's Christmas time. We gotta wrap this. So I'm dying to see what he can do. And granted, trying to keep the expectations low because he has not gone out there, but. Shoot, man! With a line that is performing so well, Jarran Reed. God, I hope he can be in there. Boy, just to be able to throw that extra little tool into the tool bag would be so awesome. So let's go with Steezy. Take it, man. What's your keys to this game?
So my first key is we got to protect Russ. Obviously, our offensive line still struggles. But I think we especially have to protect him from Leonard Floyd. He had 10.5 sacks on the season, but in 2 games against Seattle, he had 5. So there's just something about Russ and that Seahawks defensive line that he really likes. And so I know, obviously, Aaron Donald, he's the best defensive player in all of football. There's no disputing that. But they also have another guy, Leonard Floyd, a former first-round pick who didn't quite turn out in Chicago, but he had a career year here in L.A., and I think that he's going to be one of the biggest X factors on LA side of things. And I just think that if we're able to not only protect Russ from Aaron Donald, but also slide more protection towards Leonard Floyd, just because I think that he's been wreaking havoc against us all season long. And I think that we definitely have to stop him and prevent him from getting after Russ if we want to win this football game. So my key number 1, protect Russell Wilson, but especially from Leonard Floyd. And then are we going into my other keys as well, or are we going to?
How many keys you got? 2 more?
Yeah, 2 more. Yeah.
Let's just do it. Go for it, man.
Okay. Actually, real quick, there's just a little tidbit I wanted to bring up. Because, Noah, I remember earlier when we started the show, you were talking about how often do we play a team 3 times in the same season? Well, the last time we played a team 3 times in the same season, I think it worked out pretty well for us. It was in 2012 against the San Francisco 49ers. And obviously, that was the year that we won the Super Bowl. And so, I'm not saying that, this is going to be, the same, but hopefully the outcome will be the same. So, we are playing the Rams for the 3rd time this season, yes, but kind of just wanted to bring that out there. Anyway, key number 2, I got to say, let's key in on the run. Whether that's Wolford and his, mobility, whether that's Cam Akers, whether that's Malcolm Brown, I think that we should key in on the run. The Rams led the NFL in play action attempts, and so they feed off the run game. And so if we're able to key on the run game, not only are we making them one-dimensional, but we're also removing them from what they do best, which is play action. Whether that's Jared Goff or Wolford, doesn't really matter, but I want to see us keen on the run because in turn, that'll eliminate play action. And then key number 3, I want to see Chris Carson over 90 yards rushing. Because with that, if that was to happen, that means we would have taken a whole lot of pressure off of Russell Wilson. That means Russell Wilson wouldn't feel the need to press. And Chris Carson hasn't topped 17 carries or hasn't topped 80 yards rushing all year long. And I think that one of the reasons why is obviously because we have a whole lot of depth at running back, but also because we've been protecting them all this time. Well, now that it's playoff time, and he didn't have a playoff run with us last year, obviously, because of that injury. Now that he's, in his first playoff in a couple of years, I want to see us let him run wild. I want to see us let him loose, and I know that Rashad Penny's injury isn't that significant. I think he's just dealing with cramps. So he will still have a role in this game, as will Carlos Hyde. But I just want to see us feature Chris Carson a little bit more. I mean, we kept him, he's healthy up until this point, and because he's healthy, I want to see us let him loose. So key number 3, I want to see Chris Carson run for over 90 yards.
All right. Let's go to Squabo. Your keys to the game.
Yeah, no. I once again, disappointingly, I agree with a lot of the panel in this scenario. Steve, you did bring up one thing that I wanted to touch on real quick. The offensive line has struggled throughout the year, but this is supposed to be the game, one of the few games all year where we do have all 5 offensive linemen together. Yapati's back and Shella's back. That's going to be tremendous for us. When we have them, we've averaged over 30 points. I think we've only scored over 30 points when we've had them.
So and also, do you know what our record is when all 5 linemen?
Undefeated.
That's
Undefeated.
Ooh.
Exactly. So the two great things, which I think will help us get to those 90 yards for Chris Carson and help protect from Leonard Floyd, because I completely agree with you about Leonard Floyd. He terrifies me. Not quite as much as Aaron Donald, but this year maybe he deserves to be in the same conversation, at least in our matchup against these guys. We need to figure out a way to fix him. My first key to the game, I agree with Brian and I agree with Norb. It's win the turnover battle. And Pete Carroll came out and said in the press conference that they're undefeated when either tied or winning this year, the turnover battle. And that means 12-0. So I agree with you guys. I'm not going to stay on it too long. Win the turnover battle. We'll win the ball game. Number two, Norb, you might remember, and Steezy, you'll remember this too, because before the first game against the Rams, we went out and we predicted DK versus Jalen Ramsey. And we were like, DK's going to go off. DK, 200 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. Like, because remember at the time before the first game, yes, we had lost a couple of games, but that gives us motivation to go into this game. And also, DK was at the point where he had just destroyed Stephon Gilmore, the former defensive player of the year. So we were thinking, okay, let's have him send the message to Jalen Ramsey after not necessarily dominating him last year. Then we go through the game, very few catches, very few yards. Everyone's like, he got shut out, Seahawks lost, whatever. We go to the next game. Before the last game, it was me, Norb, and Steezy again, and we still went on and predicted that, we were right about the stats. At least I predicted it, that, DK, the stat prediction for the first game was just for the wrong matchup against the Rams, and I said it was for the second one, and it wasn't. He didn't have a great performance. Norb, I'm tripling down. This is the game. Last year in his rookie season, he set the NFL receiving record for most yards by a rookie in a playoff game. DK Metcalf shows up when it matters the most. He is our new beast mode. That's why my second key for this game, DK, get involved early. Feed him the football just like we feed Carson. I want to see DK get some touches early because he's one of our offensive leaders. And back when we were so successful offensively early on in the season, that's when DK was going off, and that's when DK was a major part of our offense. Now, the past couple of weeks, we've been in defensive scrums and we've been struggling, and DK hasn't been getting the ball. So in this game, I want to see us send the message. I want to see us get the ball to DK Metcalf early. And my stat prediction for the game, 2 touchdowns, 100 yards on the game. DK Metcalf finally turns it around in this matchup. I say he wins this matchup as Seattle wins this game. And my final key for this game, the past 2 weeks, we've struggled with it all year. And I'm not even just talking about time of possession, because we've lost that in our past 2 wins as well. But we struggle on third down. And the past 2 weeks, we've been under 50%. Steezy's been on this all season long. We need to be better on third down, and I've tapered my expectations a little bit from 75. If we can just do better than 50% on third down, I will be happy, and I believe that leads to a Seahawks win. So win the turnover battle, get DK involved early, and greater than 50% on third.
Normally, I'd go to Coach Marsh to get your 3 keys, but I got to get mine out real quick because I feel like you're going to steal mine from me, and I don't want you to steal my thunder. We already talked about the turnover battle, right? So here's my big one. Yeah, I'm glad you guys did say this one, because this one to me is the biggest one. We have got to be better on third down, both sides of the ball. I think all season we have not really been very good on third down. We have got to convert, because I think we win and lose games on third down, right? That's how you sustain drives. That's what keeps your, the time of possession in your favor, and keeps keeps your defense on the field, keeps your offense on the field so Russ can cook. So I want to see us be better on third down, both sides. That means we're converting on third, and we're stopping them on third down. Conversely, with running, like you guys said, we got to run the ball. We've been saving Chris Carson for this moment, right? We've been putting him on a pitch count because we're saving him for something, I don't know, down the line. Well, it's because it's win or go home, so Chris Carson needs to pound it. There's nothing to save him for. This is where you work your workhorse. He's been saving all his energy and all the carries and everything for this moment. So like you said, we got to let him go off. We got to pound him, not worry about what's going to happen to his knees or his shoulders or his ankles or his wrists or anything. Just go for it, because if you leave anything on the table and you lose, well, there's nothing left to save it for. So let him go off. We got to be better at the run game than they are. They're going to try to run the ball. I hear Cam Akers is going to be back in. He wasn't there last time we played him. So he's a factor. We've got to be better than them. Running wise, rushing yardage wise, we've just got to be better than them. And Chris Carson is the key to being better than them. Not to mention our other backs we got, but Chris Carson, he's the thoroughbred. He's the guy in the front. And then, especially if it's Jared Goff, we've got to pressure him, man. We saw how Jared Goff folded like a cheap suit, like a bad tent on a windy day. I mean, he was horrible the last time. Yeah, bad thumb or not, he was throwing balls to, like, I don't know who he was throwing to. He was playing catch with Quandre Diggs, and, I mean, he was throwing it to open receivers and missing big time. And I think that's what happens when he starts to get not in his comfort zone. He starts to fall apart like that. So if it's Jared Goff, we got to get him back to that same place. That means pass rush. I think we got to be aggressive. Anything to get that, where he can't just stand there like a statue and just get on the rhythm. We got to not let him get into a rhythm. And if it's the other guy, who I can't remember what his name is again, the replacement dude, well, we just got to stop him from doing what he did when I saw those coaches' corner things of running around. And if we swallow him up, and Jamal Adams ain't going to let that happen. Jamal Adams is not going to let him running around those corner free runs. He's going to make it pay if he runs around those corners. So if we could do all those things, plus everything you guys said, we're going to win this game, baby. Coach Mars, try to follow that, baby.
Yeah, I mean, geez Louise. But I'm going to do my best to pull a squabble out here. And, obviously it's to just add a little bit of emphasis and put a little microscope a little deeper with a stronger lens onto some stuff. First, I want to make sure that DK Metcalf plays a smart game. Like I said yesterday, if we had an isolation camera or a picture-in-picture during the game, I would want it to be on the Ramsey-Metcalf matchup all game long. Because the thing is, and I'm going to kind of disagree with you a little bit here, Squabbo, he is a numbers stats leader on this team. He's not the offensive leader, he's not even close to one of the leaders on this team, though. Reason being, when he gets issues, he gets the dumb penalty. When he doesn't get the ball thrown to him, he gets frustrated. So we have to make sure, counterpoint to that is, we have to get an attempt to him early, throw it deep. He's a 3.9 to 4.1 40 guy, flying 40 guy. Meaning when he starts running and then you time it 40 yards, he's so fast. So we have to challenge him down the field on that. But we can't have those dumb penalties that we always have. Time of possession, it's the most overrated stat in all the sports. Because it all depends on how long. I mean, we sit there and we wait for 29 seconds till we snap the ball. Some other team goes fast-paced offense, scores in 18 seconds. We score in 7 minutes. To me, I don't think time of possession really is a dictator to that. So, if you're watching the game when the guys are saying that we're losing the time possession, who gives a rat's rear? I mean, to me, that is a non-stat that people make a big deal about. Now, going to what Steezy said with Carson, if we're up at 90 yards rushing, as long as that 90 yards didn't come on one 70-yard run, but it came on a bunch of 5 to 7 yard per average runs, that means our bootlegs are opening up. It means we're able to do RPOs. It means everything is happening. So I totally agree that if Carson can get going, and let's not save things for the prom, as they say, let's get after it and give him the ball. Get it to your best guy. Let the lineman go for it. Oh, offensive lineman. Squabbo, you've said it before, right? As a former offensive lineman would much rather run the football than drop back and pass the ball, have being pass pro. They want to be running the football. But here's a couple of the key ones, really putting the microcosm on some things. Defense must stay at home if Team Wolford is their quarterback. Okay, they have to be in a position, defensive ends stay at home. Where the Cardinals just got messed up was when they would fake the run and do their RPO on offense, Cardinals, their defensive end would go after the running back, the backside linebackers would go after him, safeties would come downhill, quarterback, there he goes. We can't do that. And we made that mistake a few times last week. We let Kittle go down the field. Some other things where free safeties jumped up too quickly. Corners let guys get behind them. Linebackers. So play aggressive, but stay at home on the backside. Here's the biggest one, though. I love the attitude that a guy like a KJ Wright showed on that hit in the game. Made the hit, stood there, held his ground when the guy wanted to get in his face. Now, again, granted, at the end, there's still a little bit of pattern. There's some good gamesmanship there. But it has been a long time since I've seen a linebacker in that type of position not only light a guy up, but stand there and trash talk without trash talking. Like, I am a Seattle Seahawk, and you're not. Like, that was awesome, man.
That was that was very Cam Chancellor-esque, wasn't it?
Yeah,
exactly. Across the middle, boom, lay a shoulder into him.
That was the boom that I've been looking for. That woo, right? That big woo hit that we all looked to have. When he did that, it showed me that Adams is spreading his mentality to other guys, right? It doesn't mean they're playing like jerks or playing. It was a great hit. And then we had a couple others, but man, I just love to see him stand there. But the guy who's going to make the difference, we've heard so many times like, hey, why doesn't Metcalf play on defense? Well, I tell you what, let's get Dixon out there on the field a little bit more because he's the best hitter on our team, our punter. If everybody on this team plays as hard as Michael Dixon does this weekend and the next few weeks, we will be putting on a Super Bowl ring at the end of the season. Because that play alone that I broke down in the coach's corner last night, that to me showed me everything I need to know about this Seattle Seahawks team going into the playoffs when you talk about trending. That punter running down and sprinting and me going, what in the no Pro Bowl is going on here? Well, how is he not making it and our kicker not making it when that guy just lit that guy up on the sidelines? So that to me it's not so much of a key to the game, but man, like it is a key to the game in terms of the energy and the excitement of us playing the way that I know we can play.
You know what's cool about that tackle was that after he knocked him down, he was still standing. After the tackle, he knocked him down, and he was still standing. I think he was still standing.
And you've referenced this before. When was the last time a punter made a great hit and his helmet stayed on correctly? Didn't break his nose, didn't come up bloody. He made the hit and got up like he was a linebacker. Like, hey, man, I saw that our linebackers play hard, and Adams plays hard, but I'm the punter. Give me some respect. I'm going to drill guys and, lead the team in tackling. So
I'll do respect to John Ryan. I'll do respect to John Ryan. But John Ryan had a way of getting bloody when you had no understanding of why.
But he stuck his nose in there. He stuck his nose in there.
The only two punters I've seen in the NFL that have done something like that are the Redskins punter and for the Rams, Heckert.
Heckert, a Bothell guy. Heckert went to Bothell High School.
But you don't see that. So to see that from Dixon, I thought was incredible.
And Pat McAfee's the last guy to really.
Pat McAfee. I just want to bring up one point. You guys hit with this third down thing, and it really it jarred something in me that I wanted to say and I had forgotten because you're so right. And I've been watching us struggle on offense on third down over and over and over, and it's so frustrating. But I come to the realization, as you guys probably have too, it's not what we do on third down. It's what we've not been doing on second down. And I found that a lot of the play calling, in my opinion, on second down was questionable. And then if the play calling was good, the execution was poor. They got to get their act together on second down so they make that third down a manageable distance.
Hey, Brian, can I ask you a question on that? Because I've seen a trend that, again, there's really no numbers that can put this to anything, but over the years, because we play so close in the fourth quarter, I get the feeling that Russ, he's not trying not to play well. I mean, he actually made a run where he stuck his nose in there, got us a first down, some other things. But sometimes I feel like that maybe he does some things or he sits back there and reads and he'll tuck and run because he doesn't want to make a mistake early because he's so confident in himself late in the game that, hey, I don't want to throw 3 interceptions early, or I'm not going to throw the short thing here. I'm just going to play the game a little different. Just get me to the fourth quarter because I know our defense will play well and I'll take over as the leader of this team. I mean, do you think that plays into any of that? Why we don't do so well on first and second down, especially in the passing game?
It might, but that goes counterintuitive to what Russ has been preaching to us since his rookie year, which is we got to be great on third down. That's an exact quote from Russell Wilson. We got to be great on third down.
I'm sorry. I'm talking like first and second down. Like why we don't do so well on first. So it's almost like that challenge. Like get me to third down, get me to the fourth quarter. That type of, not that he's not trying to complete every pass, but sometimes on first and second down he's throwing those deeper ones instead of, hey, just get us the 5 and 7 yard play instead of putting us in 3rd and 10 and long.
Well, my opinion is, and I don't have any direct insight to know that this is for sure, but in deducing what some players have said and some Pete Carroll coach speak, I feel like it's a heavyweight boxing fight. I know kids probably don't watch boxing anymore. They watch MMA. But in a boxing fight, especially heavyweights, you'll watch the first few rounds, and they're not doing much. They're trying to see where they can get in. They're trying to see where the openings are, what the tendencies are of the other team, and they're feeling them out. So then when they get to that 5th, 6th, 7th round, now they can strike, now they can pound, now they know where the weaknesses are. And I think that has a lot to do with what the Seahawks are doing early in ball games, is they're feeling out their opponent.
Yeah, I think you're right. And as long as they don't damage themselves while feeling things out, that usually works. There you go. That's what hurt us in the mid part of the year when it came to the plays against the Bills and those losses that really hurt us, was that we dug ourselves our own grave while we were still feeling things out. We were getting some uppercuts on us while we were still feeling things out. So, but they seem to have fixed that. But you're right. There is that feeling that it just seems like sometimes they're not going for it on the first and second. Because like you said, I think you can look at third down efficiency, but we don't always have the stat that tells us, was this third down and long? Are these because we have 3rd and 10 plus? Or are we suffering because it's, even in 3rd and short? But I'm sure we've had a lot of 3rd and longs throughout the season, whether it's because of penalties, negative plays, incomplete passes. And like you said, yeah, you're right. If you don't do well on first and second down, third down just becomes sometimes almost impossible to convert. If you get 3rd and 17,
let's not forget, Norb,
forget about it.
We're talking about a 12-4 football team like they are 6-10, right? We are nitpicking something on a team that is 12-4, wins close games, does all those type of stuff, but that's what you do when you get to the playoffs. But man, I mean, offensively, we are better than them. Special teams, we're better than them. Defensively, 6 weeks ago, we'd have said, man, they're going to crush us on the defensive battle back and forth. Now I'd argue that we're at least level. We are level with them, and that we are trending in the right direction. So, I mean, if we don't win this one, that's going to be that will be a tough one, because I expect us to get to the Super Bowl now. When a few weeks back I was just saying, hey, NFC Championship would be great. Not the way we have trended into the playoffs. I think Super Bowl is a definite expectation for this team.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that's why we are nitpicking these things, because it's not good enough to be 12-4 and then hit the divisional round and be out. Right? We're going for the thing that's going to say we can get past the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau. Exactly. We can get past, this game right here. We can win the NFC Championship no matter, the divisional round, whoever that might be. So, that's why we nitpick these things. And I think, we have every right to do it, because we are hungry for something more than just a divisional, a divisional loss. We've had that too many times. So,
and I love that we're making changes too. Like other teams, they report that their injury guys are coming back. I mean, I know that we signed Luke Wilson today, I think, so again, I love when we add tight ends and do those type of things, that we just continue to work, and Schneider does things to try to even make us better going into the playoffs. He's not afraid to tinker and do that. So I like that we do those type of things. We expect to keep getting better as the games go on and as the season goes on.
Hey, real quick, you mentioned, John Schneider. You guys heard the rumor about Detroit Lions going after him?
Yeah. That's not going to
happen. They might go after him, but
would anybody in their right mind leave Seattle to go to Detroit?
Norbert,
you got to be paid a fortune or something.
Yeah, Daredevil. If you're going to get an elevation from your position or your status in the NFL, then yes, you're going to take a shot. But once you have a bad job and you fail at a bad job, you're almost ruined for a long period of time before you work your way back up the food chain. Now with Schneider, I was saying the same thing. I'm like, I've got family from Detroit. Detroit was a great city in the heyday of Ford. It's trash now, let's face it. Detroit is not a livable city. Even the suburbs aren't up to par based on living standards and everything else. And Schneider's really big into charity, and he's very involved in this community. So if he does want to go there, if he does decide that that's a place for him, in my opinion, it will be because A, he'll get to make 100% of the final call, which Pete does right now, but hasn't been a problem. They've been working in lockstep ever since they started. But maybe he wants that. Maybe he wants to be the top headline in the NFL news and get the shine that he's been missing out on by not getting Executive of the Year, which he should have at least gotten once in the last 7-8 years, right? And then third is if he wants to be a part of trying to rebuild that city and having an impact in that manner. Those would be the reasons why I could see him looking into and accepting that type of job. Do I think it's going to happen? I do not.
Yeah, I hope it's just.
I think it's going to happen, Norb, and I can. I don't have to expand, or I can expand. Yep, well, I absolutely think it's going to happen. I think it's because of exactly what Brian said. It's not because so much he wants to leave. He kind of needs to be here. He loves it here, all those things. But to have that, kind of the Mike Holmgren, right? Like to do everything, to call everything, to get the accolades. We hear about Schneider locally, but Brian, you probably know him more nationally than I would. From a national standpoint, he doesn't get near the credit that he should compared to what other guys get. So granted, Detroit, not the best place to try to turn things around. Maybe it's a 3 to 5 year plan or something like that. But yeah, I think he's absolutely, if they go after him, I think there's a way better than 50-50 chance that he takes that shot just to challenge himself. Why wouldn't he? A guy that thrives on a challenge, and he's been successful here. Not much more he can do here. Why not go after that and try to see if he can be the guy that can fix Detroit? Now, I apologize, Norb, for what Brian did, because you lost like 7 subscribers when he talked about Detroit the way he did. But other than that, I think we'll be okay.
Wait, Coach, real fast. Coach,
me out here.
If we were to win the Super Bowl, this year, do you think he'd want to leave?
I think that would be the stamp of him going. I think the more successful we are, that just makes it easier for him to go, look, what else can I accomplish? The only way he stays is if we don't, and then they have to kind of rework, because he loves to tinker with things. But if he could go to Detroit, where it's you just take care of everything like you did in Seattle. I mean, how fun do you think he was having? How much fun do you think he and Pete had the first few years when they're just changing and trading and all this type of stuff? He can go to do that in Detroit and just do it all over again. But now he's the man.
Well, speaking of winning a Super Bowl and things changing, I mean, we're getting way ahead of ourselves here, but that's what we can do since we're fans and guys on YouTube. But if we won the Super Bowl too, I've been hearing things that that might be the ticket for Pete to go, I'm done.
Sure.
I got my second ring. I'm out. I know they just signed the contract for 5 more years, but he doesn't have to stay for the 5. He might go, it's not going to get any better than this. I'm going to leave while I'm on top, right off to the sunset with my cowboy hat and my under the sunset, and I'm good. Boy, I mean, that would be a bittersweet, yay, greatest day. We got 2, and then what? You guys are leaving?
Squabble, what do you think, man? Don't you think Carroll coaches until he can't be on the field anymore? Like I see that guy coach until he's 98.
He seems like he's so young and all that, but I don't know. I guess I hear both sides of that possibility, but.
His son Brennan now is the offensive coordinator at Arizona, so maybe he'll when Brennan gets that head coaching job, he'll go be the defensive coordinator for his son when he retires.
Well, it's because times are changing, right? We've seen coaches the day in life of a lifer in one location just isn't there anymore. Guys are leaving. I mean, look at our local college football coach just a year ago. We thought he was going to be a lifer here, and he leaves to go try some other things. So we're not going to have those coaches that that stick around for 20, 30 years ago. That's why I just hope that everybody just relishes and appreciates what we truly have here.
Bingo.
I mean, we have such a golden thing here in Seattle. It is awesome. The whole sports scene right now is doing, it's pretty solid on a lot of fun levels. But with Seattle Seahawks football, I mean, it is really golden what we have. So we really need to appreciate Pete and Schneider and Russ and all those guys, because it's not always going to be here.
I made a video a few years back called Why I Feel Sorry for Patriots Fans. And I think I did that back in, I want to say 2015. And it was about what you're just talking about. It was about most of the fans, especially the younger fans, they don't know any better than what they've seen for the past 20 years of their dynasty.
They don't know Steve Grogan football. Yeah,
they don't know what life was like before the Patriots with Brady and Belichick. And in my video, essentially I was saying, at some point you're going to discover what life is like when you're not the automatic, oh yeah, we're just you might as well just mail it in that we are the AFC East champions for the 5,000th time in a row. They're now, my video has finally come to fruition. It took a lot longer than I thought it would be, but it finally did. But here they are. They're going through, I mean, look at it. I mean, they were terrible this year, right?
Can you just re-edit it and make it 2012, like just the same song?
The points of it, though, are still applicable. And I think you're sort of throwing the sort of signal flare that, hey, granted, we haven't been through the same number of years and we haven't won nearly as many championships, unfortunately, but we're still going through a period where it's stark contrast to what this franchise had seen since the 70s when it first started. We have never had this much success all in a row. And it's easy to get spoiled by it and very, easily disenchanted when things just don't go our way. First world problems kind of things. Guys bitching about their team when they're 12-4, stuff like that. But you're right.
You just brought up the top 2 teams of the 2010s. The 2 winningest teams, playoff number wise and wins number wise. We have one here and you just brought up the other one.
Yeah.
Right. So appreciate it.
So on that note, if you guys are ready for it, we got to do our score predictions. You guys ready?
Can I go back and touch on a little bit of
go ahead. There's some stones left unturned. We certainly don't want to do that when in playoff season. We got to get it all out. Like I said about Carson, don't leave anything out on the table. We got to get it all out there. So if there's something you got to say, we don't know if this is going to be from this point on.
Don't say it, Norb. Don't say it. Don't say we don't know it.
From this point on, I just want to say I love you guys, and I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad this audience is here watching this. That's what I meant to say. What were you going to say?
Yeah. So just a couple things going back to a little bit early on in the conversation. You kind of got away from it, so I was just waiting until we could readdress it. Real quick, the whole DK thing with Coach Marsh. Coach Marsh, first of all, I agree with you. I fully agree. DK Metcalf has a lot of flaws that I want to see him fix. I agree about those penalties. I agree about those calls, and I kind of look at it like a philosophy like this. This offseason, I 100% want the coaching staff to teach him how to be humble and how to make a good play rather than worrying about getting his numbers. But at this point in time, and Coach Marsh and a lot of other gentlemen watching this, including Abker and Norb, you guys will relate to this statement. Steezy, you'll even relate, even though you're my single brother over there. Happy wife, happy life. And that's a situation in a home right now, if DK's happy, I feel like those penalties and those plays just aren't going to happen. So if we can get DK involved, I feel like it's for the betterment of our team. I'm not saying it's right that it's like that, but I'm saying for the time being, I think it would benefit Seattle greatly when he's involved, because he's not going to have those plays where he's disengaged, where he's getting penalties, and where he's missing blocks quite as much. Another thing I wanted to touch on, the KJ Wright play that you talked about, I think that is so important. I think you guys raised great points talking about Dixon's hit. Quandre Diggs has been hitting people. Wagner's been hitting people. We have guys all around our locker room hitting people. And I heard KJ, I don't know if you guys heard KJ's press conference specifically about the Juszczyk hit, but what he said was him and Juszczyk are really good friends. But one thing that every time against Juszczyk, like he told Juszczyk, essentially, stop chopping me when the play's on the other side of the field. And he was getting frustrated because Juszczyk be going too hard sometimes. So KJ said essentially he was waiting for that opportunity to legally crack his butt. Like he just wanted to blow him up, and he finally did it. They're good friends off the field. So it's all good. It's just he's been waiting for that opportunity, and I'm glad that he finally took it. But also about that, and Norb, we talked about it on the phone this past weekend. I think this exactly what you guys are talking about, that energy with our defense by bringing in a Jamal Adams and also by bringing in a Carlos Dunlap. It opened my eyes to something this past week that I didn't realize before this year, and I feel like an idiot for not realizing it, but it's a general formula for Seahawks success, at least with John Schneider and Pete Carroll. We struggle sometimes at the draft. We were good early on, but lately we have struggled throughout the draft. And that's why I think it was so brilliant that we bring in a Jamal Adams and a Carlos Dunlap midseason, because it's exactly what we did on the way to our first Super Bowl. The success formula for Seattle is bringing in free agents from teams that have struggled, that haven't had a reason to play harder and to play for their brothers and to make hits like the ones you're talking about if you're a punter or if you're a player that's only getting rotational plays. Like Cody Barnes coming in and forcing fumbles on punts, and we didn't pick it up somehow, but that could have been a huge play in that Rams game. And it's because he believes he's playing for something bigger. The comparison, back in the day, Michael Bennett comes from Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was horrible at that time. He comes to Seattle, helps us to a Super Bowl. Cliff Averill comes from Detroit. He was part of the 0-16 season, comes to Seattle, helps us win a Super Bowl. And now we're bringing in more guys that give purpose and give meaning to this locker room. And I think that is bigger than anything, because we're seeing all these guys make plays, and it makes other people want to make plays, and it makes other people want to play for each other. And it makes Jamal Adams already on Wednesday. We hear Sean McVay talking about, I'm not going to tell you if it's going to be Jared Goff or John Wolford this Saturday. I'm going to keep that to myself. But then we hear Jamal Adams come out and say, I'm playing. Y'all going to see me there. I'm going to be 100% because we're not afraid, and we're going for it, and we have purpose, and we have reason, and we're going to tell them what's coming, and we don't care if they know about it. We're going to beat them anyway. So I really like the energy, and I finally realized this formula that's been hitting us across the face that I guess I've been sleeping on. And then finally, the last thing I want to touch on, don't overlook this. I just wanted to throw this in there real quick. Don't be surprised if we see Tampa Bay at Seattle in the NFC Championship game. They beat Washington. They go beat Green Bay, who they already beat. Remember, last year, Green Bay in the NFC Championship game gets blown up by San Francisco after getting blown up by San Francisco early. Tampa Bay blew out Green Bay earlier this year. Aaron Rodgers played his worst game of the season, including at least one pick six and at least 2 picks. I can't remember if the other one was a pick six too, but I remember that he threw at least 2 picks, and one of them was a pick six. So, That's just a bad matchup for Green Bay. So Tampa Bay at Seattle, don't be surprised if that's the conference championship game and we get to host another playoff game.
I'll be all right with that. Hey, you mentioned that hit. Who was the most excited on the field after KJ laid him out? Did you see Bobby Wagner?
Bobby.
He was just like, he was so pumped up, man. He was more excited. Kay was just standing there, but Bobby was like, just going nuts. And I love that. It's exactly. Like that's that contagious energy that when you see it like that woo hit that you're talking about, Coach Marsh, that's a woo hit that gets not just sends a message to the other team, it sends electric energy to the rest of the defense. And like you said, it's been growing. It's been spreading like COVID. I shouldn't joke about that. It's been spreading like wildfire with this team on defense, man. And I love where things are, like you said, where things are trending. So,
that enthusiasm breeds enthusiasm. I mean, as a coach, I talked about that all the time. It just takes one hit or one great block or one pancake block, one depleted hit, one snot bubble hit, like we just saw with KJ Wright. You get one of those, and all of a sudden the enthusiasm breeds enthusiasm, especially when guys celebrate. And sometimes you have to teach that. Celebrate great play. Everybody celebrates it. And, anybody who's been in a locker room at any level knows that personnel groupings love to compete at the same time that they love to have the enthusiasm. So those linebackers each game are saying, hey, who's going to have the biggest hit today? And the DBs, who's going to have the biggest hit? And then DBs versus linebackers. We think we hit harder than you. We think we hit harder than you. So it's great to see that as a team, we have that type of great camaraderie. The guys are so excited that I think they're trying to see who can get the biggest hit. Going to what Squabble said at the very beginning on DK, it is one of the points I brought up last night, and I want to make sure I reiterate it to you. To me, it's a big factor in the game if we send DK on a deep streak in the first quarter. I want to see us send him on a deep route, which I said earlier tonight. Send him on a deep route and throw it to him no matter what. Let him prove that he's the guy he is, the body he is, at least battle 50-50, incomplete, no problem. But let him have that chance so he is involved in the game early.
That sounds awfully like my key for the game. I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
And it also tells the Rams secondary we're not afraid to throw it. And right away make them go, oh God, okay, they're coming after us, and then they got to respect that deep ball. So it's all great. So
and then we need to stop him on his run. If that quarterback's in the run and they run a design running play, like they're going to run 7 different types of plays in the first quarter, bootleg, sprint out, this, that, before they decide what they're going to do the next 3 quarters. We have to make sure we're deciding which thing are we taking away and stick to that and get after it.
Absolutely. All right. So I do want to let everybody know, because I don't know if everyone's aware, we are doing a trivia contest, and Peter Parker actually, the Peter Parker, Spider-Man, sent the trivia in. I made some modifications to make it a little bit more, playoff friendly, but it's a pretty good one. So are you guys ready to do the score predictions?
Yeah, and hey Norb, after that I got to run. I apologize. My mom just texted me and has a flat tire, so I'm gonna run and save her. Right. So I'll do my score predictions. And well, I mean, come on, man. After all my parents ever did for me, man, I owe them for life and beyond. So I have to
What's the old saying? They brought you into this world, that take you right out of it.
That's it.
All right. Well, since you got places to go, Brian, let's start with you. Let's get your score prediction right now.
Yeah, my score prediction is a 19-18 ball game, a weird score for a weird year in a close battle where the Seahawks do what they're known best for, and that's running the football and Russell Wilson getting the ball in the end zone to win the football game. That's my prediction. And as I head out, I want to thank Coach and Steezy and Norb because it's been great working with you. And I want to say to Noah, DJ Squabo specifically, man, ever since I've joined this platform, you've been on point, and I've watched you do nothing but get better and better and better each week. Your passion's amazing. I love it when we disagree because it makes for a good, entertaining, compelling show, and you always come with well thought out facts and opinions. So I appreciate all you guys. Happy New Year, and go Hawks.
All right, Brian, you better not be late. That sounds a lot like a goodbye. It better not be. This is going to be see you next week. So go help your mom with the flat tire, and we'll keep doing what we do. All right, so Brian, we will see him later. But Squabo, why don't you go ahead and do your score prediction?
I hate to say it, guys, but I'm awfully confident about this game. I really feel like heading into the last game that we had against the Rams, we had lost 5 of our last 6 against the Rams. We've struggled in the Sean McVay era, and we had lost 8 of the last 11 against the Rams. They had us in that matchup. This last game, we got over that hump. We got to stop on 4th down after 4th down against the Rams has haunted us for years. When you look back to Johnny Hekker converting on a fake punt on 4th down, essentially ending the game back in St. Louis. Or you look at a couple years back when Jared Goff converts on 4th and 1 or 4th and inches in our own building to beat us in that ball game. We got the stop on 4th down. We got stops on 4 consecutive downs. We finally got the division back, and we found our formula for success in this game and for success as a team, and that's bringing in those players like Jamal Adams and Carlos Dunlap that are going to be motivated and inspire our locker room to fight for every single inch on the field like we did in the last matchup against the Rams. I think that put us over the top with this team. I think we control this game more than we did the last game. I say it's a 2-score game, but then the Rams make it a little bit closer. Seahawks are a 4-point favorite in this game. We're not doing betting odds, but I'm swallowing the points. 28-21 Seahawks win.
That is a tough act to follow, but I love it, man. I love the passion. I love what you brought up about fourth down because, yeah, you're right. Fourth down has haunted us with this team. I recall that afternoon game up here in Seattle where they went for it on fourth down and got a quarterback sneak to win the game, and just stuff like that just really, just pisses you off. So we have a lot of revenge over the years to get to. So, Coach Marsh, how about you? Let's get your score prediction.
Yeah, it's very simple. And it's based on something that Squabble said earlier in terms of new players coming in and having this sense of urgency. That's a common, phrase that you hear all the time. There's a sense of urgency around this team to win for some of those guys who have come in, and not just to win for them, but for those guys that want to win for themselves, not in a selfish way, but just to experience what it's like to win a playoff game, to be in a playoff game. Like they are so amped up, and that I think is going to bring up the level of the other guys who have been around for a while, who are maybe quasi used to playing in the playoffs. That it's going to have a totally different flavor than they've had before with guys that are new to this playoff scenario, which is why I think we easily cover the 4, and it's going to be 31-17. This game is over and over early.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. It. Yeah, let's go. All right, Steezy, keep it rolling. What you got, man?
Yeah, it is going to be Jamal Adams' first time in the playoffs, and I think that because his energy is so contagious, he's going to make it so that everyone's going to feel like they're playing in their first playoff game. And I think that everyone's going to feed off of his energy. He's coming in playing injured, and I think that the guys are going to see that. The guys are going to see just how hard he works, just his passion for the game, and we're going to try to bring home that W. So I think that at the end of the day, we come out on top, 24-10.
Love it. You guys have the cojones that I don't. I said I think I made the case that it was going to be the most dominant game, and I had the least dominant score. So,
well, I haven't gone yet. So, all right. So this is my thought on how this game is going to go. I feel like I said earlier, Seattle's playing like Seattle traditionally has been playing Seattle football, which means kind of slow start. It might even be a slow start where we might even be slightly behind to begin the game. And then it's going to be a second half adjustment. We'll start coming back. We'll take the lead. And in the fourth quarter, it's hang on tight, baby, because who knows what's going to happen in the end. And in the end, the defense is going to save the day. And I'm going to say the final score of the wild card game between the Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams is 23-17.
Ah, great score.
And if you kind of remember what that score was, different type of game, but it was the home game we all remember. So 23-17, baby. I don't like being that close, but as long as we get the dub, that's all that matters.
No, if I may,
you may.
You guys might panic about a 23-17 wildcard score, even if that's our score in the game. And I referenced Madden because last year I was a 5-time Super Bowl champion in Madden. And one of I think it was my first Super Bowl by myself. The wildcard round, it was a nail biter. And then every game after that, it was blowout, quit. And Seattle could do that. Seattle could legitimately do that, get past the Rams by any means necessary, and then the next couple of rounds, we could win in dominant fashion. I could seriously see this team going all the way and winning the Super Bowl, and it doesn't matter what the score is. We shouldn't be deterred.
I love it. All right. Well, are we ready to do some trivia?
Yeah. And as we go into the quiz, though, I do want to say, going back to what I said at the beginning with the records, we constantly have talked about Metcalf. Tyler Lockett, I think, is arguably one of the best receivers in the league and definitely one of the best receivers we've ever had. The more I watch him, the more I study him, the more I look at him for coaches' court and everything else, that guy is fundamentally sound in his routes. He's one of the best blocking receivers I've seen in a long time. He catches the ball. He's trustworthy. So I love that we have this great blend of Metcalf, Lockett. You know what I think about our tight ends. And I failed to mention that earlier, but I think just the fact that Lockett got the record and everything else, we just kind of quickly brisked over that. He is quickly becoming one of my favorite all-time Seattle Seahawks, not just a Seattle Seahawk right now. So I think he's definitely a key cog. It's not a secret weapon, but a weapon nonetheless because our focus is always on Metcalf.
I think it's great because I think if you're Tyler Lockett, he's a soft-spoken guy anyway. He's not the type of guy to go out there and kind of get all the attention. So it's perfect. He's like DK's like the perfect front man. He's the perfect guy to get all the attention while Tyler just sort of sneaks around back here and and gets all the sneaky little catches and things like that, while everybody focuses on the big guy who's all big and strong and fast. Well, Lockett just keeps doing his thing, making a spectacular catch over here, sneaky little catch over there, possession catch over here, get a first down for us. And I think he's fine with that. And when you think of what he accomplished, the way those guys both accomplished those records within almost 2 minutes of each other, and yet it seemed like his was so much more understated, right? It was like the DK Largent. Oh yeah, and Tyler, they got this one too. But it totally fits the way their personalities are and the way even their size, the diminutive Tyler Lockett versus the giant. It kind of works out perfecally. So
and then with prototypical, right? I mean, it's kind of like from Largent to Jackson to Blades or Blades to Jackson actually, and then going all the way through the lineage to the recent most current receivers. He just fits in that mold, and I just love it. I think he's just a perfect player at the perfect time, perfect place. The soft-spoken, most quiet guy getting to 100 receptions you'll see in a long time.
Yeah.
So very cool.
It's great though. With all the stuff we talk about DK, and I definitely, since watching your Coach's Corners breakdown, I have seen a lot more flaws to DK's game that I certainly would not have been aware of without watching your breakdowns. So I guess I sort of thank you, and I'll sort of say hate you for that, because it's like sometimes you hold somebody on a pedestal and you realize, oh, you know what? I guess it's not as shiny as I thought. But what is exciting about that is to think that how great he already is, breaking that record in his second year with the flaws that he has, just shows how much potential he has. Because if he can do all those other little things on top of what he already does so well, the sky really is the limit. And I think those things are easily more fixed.
He's only had one real NFL offseason, and it wasn't a real NFL offseason.
Right.
So think about what's he going to be like when he has 2, 3, and 4 off seasons. Right. Like Lockett is great, but I think he's there. He's at his spot. Metcalf, man, I nitpick on the stuff he does because, again, if he's at 40 to 50% of what he can be, he is going to be an all-time great.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is it's just like seeing when your child has this great potential and they're just not doing the little things to make the most of it. You just get more frustrated because you could be so good if you just practice and committed to it and really put your mind to doing it, because you're so smart and you're so skilled. You just got to take that next step and work your butt off a little bit, and the sky's the limit. So anyway,
and he has the right quarterback that will get him there. That's what I love. He's got the quarterback that will make sure he gets there.
I'm excited. I feel like there's so many exciting moments along the way. You think about all the great highlights that you watch over the years. We play back the Richard Sherman interception and the Jermaine Kearse touchdown to get us to the second Super Bowl. And those plays last forever, right? You just watch those over and over again, and it just becomes kind of a visual signpost of what represented that year or that moment in your team. We're going to have some of those. Hopefully lots of them upcoming in this next game, and then hopefully we continue and the next game after that and the next game after that, and we're gonna see some highlights that we haven't seen yet that are gonna blow our minds, that we're gonna go, oh my God, that play by Russell to this, or that defensive play, that hit by KJ, or that play by Jamal Adams. It hasn't happened yet, and I can't wait to see these highlights. The game is going to happen. We're going to have these highlights to watch that we don't even know what they are yet, and that's what excites me, because I have this whole bank of video files that I've saved and looked at over the years for inspiration and motivation, and to think that we're entering another playoff round with all that in front of us, with this team that's playing in the way they are. So I can't wait to see what highlights are ahead for this team. You know what I mean? I'm just so excited to see what great things are going to happen. It's going to be so much fun. James Griffin in the Super Chat says, can you guys each guess who's our standout player on the defense? Sacks, interceptions, forced fumbles, etc. Wow, who's our standout player?
I guess the question is more, are we answering a actual stats question, or are we giving an opinion on who is our
I guess there's a simpler way. Maybe we can just more simplify it to who do we think is going to be, like if you're going to go and say, wow, blah, 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 and the defense had a great game. Maybe the question could be simplified to who is going to be the defensive player of the game that we're going to go, wow, blah, 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 had a great game. I guess maybe that's the anticipation of what that means. For my money, I'm going with Jamal Adams just because of the whole first time there. I mean, how can you not think this guy's going to go out and try to ball out. Hopefully not be too aggressive to where he's not like playing discipline. But I just think this guy, every play is going to be like his next highlight. But what do you guys think? Do you think there's going to be somebody else who's going to come out and make a play that, other than the easy Jamal Adams name to throw out there?
KJ Wright. KJ Wright, he performed majorly, especially on that fourth down stand or that fourth goal line stand in the last game that we had against the Rams. He was blowing up plays. He blew up, I think it was Higbee he blew up on fourth down that essentially ended that drive and allowed or gave that running back nowhere to go. So I say KJ Wright, he might get a pick. He might tip a pass. He has found different ways in this resurgent year of his career based on his position shift that has helped him become, once again, an elite linebacker in the NFL. KJ's been phenomenal. I say KJ has a great game.
I love the way KJ's been played all year, man. He's been like stepping up. And in a year where everybody's been talking about, hey, I think this might be time for KJ to go. He's shown that, I'm playing better than I've been playing possibly my whole career. He's had so many great plays. How about you, Steezy?
I love both of the guys that you guys picked, but I'm going to go with Carlos Dunlap. He hasn't played a meaningful game in a while, and he has had 2 games this year in which he's essentially iced the game for us, and I think that, he has another chance to do so, going up against the Rams this week. I think that's going to be a low-scoring game, a low-scoring affair, and so he's definitely going to be able to, squiggle his way in and make some game-altering, game-impacting plays, and, he's performed admirably for us, and I don't expect that to stop, so Carlos Dunlap's my guy.
Yeah, man. Well, life has been different ever since he came here. Life, at least in the trenches, has been totally different since Carlos Dunlap came, and it's just been moving in the right direction. Coach Marsh, how about you? Who's you think is going to be your predictive defensive player?
You always build your defense from the middle out, inside out. Our future Hall of Famer is sitting right there in the middle in Bobby Wagner. He made some plays that people wouldn't recognize if you don't have a chance to repeat the play over and over and over, where he forces guys in one direction and another linebacker makes it. We need our linebackers leading the team in tackles. You always want your linebackers leading the team in tackles. So I want to hear, and I think I'm going to hear Bobby Wagner's name a lot because he is playing exceptional football right now. And so if he's making the plays, man, we are in great shape.
All right. I could go with any of those guys. DJ Reed also could surprise us too. He's been having a surprise. Jordan Brooks.
You go Ken Norton.
Jordan Brooks.
Pick Ken Norton to call a great game.
Ken Norton, man. We've gone from fire Ken Norton, run him out of town to, hey, let's put him on a statue here. But yeah, you gotta respect what he's done, and you gotta give credit where credit's due, right? I don't think enough people are giving him credit. When you go from saying, run him out of here to what he's turned around, I don't think enough people have been saying, you know what, I take that back. Well, I was never one to say to run him out of town. I've been definitely saying, we need to maybe evaluate things in the offseason, but I never said, let's fire the guy. Let's give him the time to figure things out. And now for everybody else who said let's cut bait and he's not getting the job done, I think those people need to do a serious not that they're going to apologize to him directly, but I think it's one of those things where as fans we gotta give credit where credit is due. And Ken Norton has done a great job, and nobody's talking about him now.
My first roundtable with you guys, it was a Ken Norton bash session. There wasn't a super chat that went through that didn't say something about Ken Norton leaving town and getting rid of him and all that type of stuff. We don't ever talk about him the last 5-6 weeks, so which is great.
That's a good thing, yeah. But yeah, we're talking about him now in a good way, so that's all good.
Just like the special teams guys, we're not talking about them unless they, they're not messing up. So
yeah, exactly.
Yep. All right, so I think we are ready. So James Griffin, great question. Thank you for the super chat. So I think we're ready to. Shall we do this? We ready to do a little trivia? See how smart we are or not smart? So before I do that, I do want to just do one more little reminder. Again, got to go to my sponsor here, just to Daniel Dovin of Dovin Real Estate. If you guys know of anybody who is in the Seattle area looking to buy or sell, these guys have top of the line. They call it the white glove concierge service, where they take care of you, everything from staging your house to getting it clean to whatever it takes to get your house ready to put on the market and get it sold. So he'll take care of you. A great guy. He's been so supportive of my show, so I greatly appreciate it. So check his link out in the description. And again, if you set up a free consultation, you could win a why do I always keep forgetting? Cortez Kennedy rookie card. So that would be something. All right, let's do this thing. So this is on the Kahoot platform. So if you have Kahoot.com or Kahoot on your phone, this is how you watch it. So here we go. This is how we play. Let me pull up the Kahoot screen. There it is. The number is, hopefully this will all work. Get ready. The pin number is 1674229. 1674229. Get your names in there. The funnest part about this is the names. Tyler Greaves, T-Man Russ, K-Rub, Andrew P, Sky High Aviation, Zane, third place, Bebo Hawks, Go Hawks, Sleazy A. Smith, Rasheem Peen, Norb Sold Out. Oh, come on, man. Chris Hawks, Seahawks fan base, Squavo Hairline, Molester, Carter Kinslow, Seahawks Devin, Mountain Bear 98, NINJA-CRK, Aidan, Norb's Peanuts, Seattle Ricky, Felix Suave, Go Hawks. We got 44 of you guys there. Let's go about 30 more seconds. Let's try to get to 100. Hi Norb, DK Not It, Go Hawks, Jerry the Beast, Rams winning, sorry. Yeah, right. Super Bowl bound, Tyler Lockett, Shuri Hawk Schmeligad in there. 56. Let's go about another 20 more seconds while I fix this scoreboard over here. Number one Hawk fan, CB, Marsh Leg Lamp, Fire Shoddy, Deadly Skills, Kuya Pizza, Nick Gurr, Hi Norb, Massa, Legion of... You know what I swear? We get like all these high numbers of people signing up. I swear when we get to the game, only like a third of those people actually play. I think people are just here to put the names out there and then they just quit.
Hey, whatever brings them to the show, Norb.
Whatever brings to the show. I'm not complaining. It's just funny. It's just funny to me. Where is it? Oh,
no, you gotta be careful when reading those, though. You kind of slipped up there a little bit.
Did I?
Be careful. Yeah, nah, that nickname, man, that's inappropriate. I didn't appreciate that. Not you, but whoever made that.
I missed that one.
No, you said it.
I see it.
Yeah.
Did I say it?
Nah, that's inappropriate. That's unnecessary. You did.
Cal's brother. Who did that?
Wait, I guess it slipped by me. If there's a bad one in there, we gotta clean that thing out.
It's Nick G-E-R-R.
Oh, okay. I did not see that. Come on, guys. Let's keep it clean. You guys are pretty good about keeping it clean here. Oh, I gotta find that one. I don't see it. Oh,
it's right there.
I got you. All right, that's out. All right, let's go. 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Joe Marsh, Jared Golf, 2. Pete, Coach of the Year, Space Jesus, Witty Piranha. Well, we're up to 91. Let's get to 100. Let's get 100. Let's get 100. We're at 90.
Yeah, let's do it.
Get 10 more. Come on. I'll give you 10 more seconds. 50 more seconds. Jared Goof, DK, Schmilly Dog, Masago Egg, Cal's brother, Jalmal Adams, Bevo Hawks. So it goes. Someone's quick on the N word they put in there. At least I'm not saying it. All right. Well, I think we're pretty much there. We're pretty much hovering about 88, 90. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Norbalici? All right, there we go. Let's do this. All right, let's start it. This is, again, courtesy of Peter Parker right there. Thanks, Peter Parker. 12 questions. The last 3 were worth double. Here's the first question. Number 1. Which Seahawks player recorded more than 2,000 passing yards and 500 rushing yards as a senior in high school?
Oh, man.
Mike Green, Jordan Babineau, Deion Grant, or Cam Chancellor? Which player recorded more than 2,000 passing yards and 500 rushing yards as a senior in high school? Mike Green, Jordan Babineau, Deion Grant, or Cam Chancellor? Tricky questions. Time is up. All right across the board, I can tell everyone's just like, I don't know, let me just guess one. Cam Chancellor. Cam. Yeah, I was surprised myself too. Well, there you go. So you learned something new. This has some very specific questions that I had to change some just because I was like, man, no one's going to know this. Let's go to the panel, starting with Steez.
I went with the other safety in Jordan Babineau. It was just a total guess.
All right. So, yeah, that's I totally guessed too. I didn't even know he was a quarterback. Squabble?
You know, now that you bring it up, I feel like I should have known this. But regardless, like as soon as I heard this question, I was like, oh, it's gonna be one of these trivias. I guessed and got it wrong. I said Mike Green.
All right, so Squabo, no points there. Let me fix this here and let me make this Bill so we don't have this gap in between. So actually just Coach. Let's go with that. Coach.
Oh, Coach.
What you got?
Yeah. So I actually had him at one of my quarterback clinics and had some scouting film on. Just kidding. I had no idea. I went
going, man.
Getting yards in high school. I mean, come on, man.
Right.
So we're over on this one. Okay. All right. Well, no surprise. That's a bit tricky. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard.
Who did Richard Sherman go to homecoming with?
Right. Right.
All right, here we go. Pete, coach of the year. In first, LA Rams in second, Marsh for OC in third, Schmidt in fourth, and Squabo's hairline in fifth.
Yeah.
All right, tight game. Here we go. Next question. They're not all tough like that. Which Seahawks player grew up playing with Cowboys running back Alfred Morris? Percy Harvin, Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, or Deion Butler? Which Seahawks player grew up playing with Cowboys running back Alfred Morris? Percy Harvin, Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, or Deion Butler? Time is up. Well, look at that. Most majority on YouTube got Doug Baldwin. 26 of you guys got that one correct. Let's go to the panel with Steezy. Steezy, what you got?
So I said Doug Baldwin, and I was kind of just thinking about the years that each of these guys came into the league. Percy Harvin, I think, came into the league 2008, 2009. Jermaine Kearse, I think, might have been 2010. Doug Baldwin, either 2011 or 2010. 2011. And then I know Alfred Morris came into the league in 2012. It was Russ's rookie year. And so I was just like, I think the closest is Doug Baldwin 2011 to Alfred Morris 2012.
Man. Nice, well dissected, Steve. That was good. That was good. Squabo, what did you use method to guess this one?
Very different.
When in doubt, pick C.
No. I thought about it. I thought about that a little bit, but honestly, I looked at the 4 answers from the last one, and typically, like when people build these trivias, they want the answer to be the least obvious one. So that's why I said Mike Green last round, and I got that wrong. It was the most obvious, Cam Chancellor. So I went with the most obvious answer here, which was Doug Baldwin, and got lucky.
Oh, okay. All right. Didn't know the answer, but applied some psychology to it. Coach Marsh, what was your psychological approach to this game?
I went Baldwin for the exact reason that Steezy explained, so I don't need to say anymore.
All right. Well played, guys. All right, let's go to, so we got a 3-way tie, 1 point apiece. Let's go to YouTube. Some changes. LA Rams on top. Hopefully that doesn't bode well for the future.
Marshall C. Where did Marshall C go?
Marshall C got dropped. Loam in second, Monkey Russ in third, Masago Egg in fourth, and Peach Coach of the Year in fifth. Andrew P is up 15 places. Next question. Which Seahawk played with the Canadian Junior National Baseball Team in 2008 and was signed by the Blue Jays? Which Seahawks player played with the Canadian Junior National Baseball Team in 2008 and was signed by the Blue Jays? Zach Miller, Cameron Mora, Luke Wilson, or John Carlson? Played with the Canadian Junior National Baseball Team in 2008 and was signed by the Blue Jays. Zach Miller, Cameron Mora, Luke Wilson, or John Carlson? All right, I think I know the secret to this one. When you mentioned Canada, we all know one good name that pops out of there is the Canadian, and that's Luke Wilson. 35 of you guys got that one correct. How about you on the panel?
That's actually how I came to my answer, Norb. He was the only Canadian that I knew was, so I was just like, got to be Luke Wilson.
Yeah, good one. All right, so 2 points for Steve. Squabo.
That and a little bit of the time gap thing. I feel like Wilson most likely could have still made it into the NFL by his time and been doing something else at that time. So it kind of fit.
Wow, look at that tie. All right, 2-2 for you guys and Coach Marsh.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that the others aren't Canadian, but he's the one I think everybody knows that is Canadian.
Right. I don't know about John Carlson, kind of sus.
Yeah, yep. Well, go for the obvious one. All right, so let's go to the scoreboard here. More changes. Monkey Russ goes to first. Loam in second. Pete, Coach of the Year in third. LA Rams drops to fourth. And Coach Marsh for OC back in the top 5 at number 5. 24 places up is Deadly Skills, the highest climber Next question. Number 4. What is the Seahawks playoff record versus the Rams? 1-3, 1-1, 0-1, or 0-2? What is the Seahawks playoff record versus the Rams? 1-3, 1-1, 0-1, or 0-2? Time is up. 15 of you got this one correct. 0-1 is the correct answer. Panel. Steezy, what you got?
Well, I got the 0 right, but I said 0-2. So,
do you remember what any of when those games would have taken place, or was this a total shot in the dark? Do you remember a playoff game against the Rams?
It was just a total shot in the dark.
Okay.
I don't. Honestly,
all right.
I don't.
Let's go to
wait,
Squabble.
should I? Well,
it wasn't that long ago, but it was a while ago. So we'll see. I mean, for you guys are young pups. So for you guys, it was probably an eternity ago. So
but it wasn't prehistoric. We can't put it in the prehistoric.
Maybe not the Jurassic. Yeah, it may not be the Jurassic. Might have been the Triassic period, not quite Jurassic. Yeah. I forgot which Isic period that was. But let's go to Squabbo. What do you have on this?
Well, I was thinking that we hadn't played them, but then that wasn't an option. So I went with, okay, maybe we just played them once and got it right.
All right. Process of elimination gets you 3 points. Coach, this falls right into your wheelhouse.
Well, yeah, but it's not quite back in the plate tectonic era. But it's also, you have to know that we were in the AFC for so long, so it had to be after we came into the NFC. But it actually, I couldn't remember exactly when we played them, but I knew it was that there weren't 2 times because I would remember if there was multiple. So I came with the 0-1.
Well, I'm surprised. Actually, I'm surprised you don't remember that one, Coach Maraj, because I have a very distinct memory of that. That was the 2004 season.
Oh,
2004. It was played in CenturyLink Field. I believe we were down by a touchdown, and Matt Hasselbeck threw to Bobby Ingram, speaking of records being dropped, threw to Bobby Ingram into the end zone, the north side of the end zone. It hit his hands. It was low, and he couldn't quite haul it in. I think that was the last play of the game, and I remember Hasselbeck going, ah! And then the following year, we did go to the Super Bowl. That was a very brutal loss. The one brutal loss.
You know who Matt Hasselbeck is? He was a quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks.
I haven't heard of him.
Oh,
You're whippersnappers. You're young whippersnappers. All right.
You guys didn't like their uniforms.
Yeah, although he was wearing the 2002 versions of the uniforms back in that time period, so that was the in-between uniforms. All right, so we got a tie between Squabbo and Coach, 3 apiece, Steezy with 2. Let's go to the next scoreboard update. Oh, Marks for OC shoots to the top.
There you
Cameron Hughes in second. Jared Goof in third.
I know Nick LeBeau is going to start showing up here pretty soon. He always making a run.
Yeah, he always comes making that second half run. Monkey
Russell
in
Wilson.
fourth.
He waits till the fourth quarter and then he makes his move.
That's right. Loam in fifth. Oh, is he not? I thought I saw him.
I haven't seen him comment.
Oh, okay. All right. Not here today. 28 places, not DK is the highest climber. All right, here we go. Next question. Number 5. Which city have the Rams not represented? St. Louis, Detroit, Los Angeles, or Cleveland? Which city have the Rams not represented? St. Louis, Detroit, Los Angeles, or Cleveland? St. Louis, Detroit, Los Angeles, Cleveland. Time is up. Okay, there you go. 36 of you guys got that one. Not fooling too many of you. Although the Cleveland, I knew that was going to be a second one that would get people to fall. Oh, by the way, that last question, the previous one about the playoff record, and this one, these were my questions, by the way. Just FYI, my little updates to this. Let's go to the panel. Steezy.
That's crazy. I was thinking Cleveland because Cleveland's always had a football team. You know, I mean, when they didn't, it was vacant. And so I kind of eliminated Cleveland. Now I was thinking Detroit, but I guess I got them wrong.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people on YouTube thought the same thing. And it's what's the one we don't really speak of, right? We never, whoever says the Cleveland Rams, but I wish I'd looked up the years. Right. That was the first team that they were the Rams for. So, yeah, a little tricky one. Squabo.
Yeah, no, I fell for the same trap. I got it wrong. And for the record, Nick LeBeau is here, and somebody said they were right behind him at 39, so he's 30th.
Okay.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Good.
Coach Marsh. Now we're talking back against we're back to the Jurassic era
this
of football.
This is plate tectonic territory.
These are leather helmets. I think they didn't even have shoes yet.
This is great. Back when, this is when I was coaching.
Humans hadn't fully evolved. We still had a little bit of the Neanderthal
Homo
in us.
sapiens.
I love watching the old film, black and white and stuff. So I remember the Rams footage, but I couldn't remember. I honestly couldn't remember if it was Cleveland or Detroit. So this is a theory that I don't think has ever come up before, because Abker, when he ripped on Detroit, Norb, you had no reaction at all. Like, you didn't back up Detroit. Like, Detroit's a good city and stuff. So I thought, you know what? I bet Norb's ripping on Detroit too in this one, saying that nobody wants to be part of Detroit. So I went with Detroit. Rams didn't want to be there.
Well, you psychoanalyzed me in a way I didn't even realize I was psychoanalyzing myself to be put out there for that type of analysis. But that's amazing that worked. But I did rip on Detroit, though. The first thing I said was, why would John Schneider leave Seattle, go to Detroit? That's the first thing I said. So I kind of pre-ripped him, and then after. Yeah,
but it wasn't like Abker was like really drill, like Detroit's nasty and
who wants to be there?
Yeah. So I figured, okay, since Norb didn't react to that, man, he must be an anti-Detroit guy too.
I just wanted to be nice. That's all. I didn't want to be too mean to Detroit.
I think you and Abker just said, hey, let's rip on Detroit all show long tonight.
Well, it got you a correct answer.
Here.
Whatever happened, it got you the right answer. Yeah, and hopefully Schneider does stay here. I didn't hear Schneider talking about, there was I don't know if it was a tweet or something, him saying something about he heard about that rumor too and kind of laughed it off. So for what that's worth, I don't know.
I think guys go after him every year.
I'm sure they do. So, all right, here we go. Back to the scoreboard. Let's see what happens after Detroit got messed with. Marsh for OC, hanging tough. And look, Cameron Hughes in second place. Jared Goof in third. Pete, coach of the year in fourth. And Loam in fifth place. 5 players have a 3-answer streak going on. Next question. Which former Seahawks celebration dance is inspired by wrestler Rick Rude? Raheem Brock, Chris Clemens, Michael Bennett, or Red Bryant? Which former Seahawks celebration dance is inspired by wrestler Rick Rude? Raheem Brock, Chris Clemens, Michael Bennett, or Red Bryant? This is fairly recent players. Oh yeah, look at YouTube's all over the Rick Rude connection. Let's see what the panel was on it. Steezy.
Surprisingly so, I was on it. I said Michael Bennett. I tried to, remember if any of these guys had any sort of sack celebrations or any celebrations whatsoever. And Michael Bennett was really the only one that stood out to me. And so I said Michael Bennett.
Do you remember how that move went?
Doesn't he shake his belly?
No, that's that's the other guy. Yeah, there you go, Squabs.
Ray Bryant, the belly roll. I was thinking about that Ray Bryant belly roll. And didn't Mebane do it too?
Mebane. It was Mebane, not Bryant. It was Mebane. It was Brandon Mebane with the brother. Mebane. I sung about that in one of my music videos.
I think they both did it.
Yeah.
Did they? Ray Bryant did too? Yeah, I just remember Mebane doing it. But yeah, the Michael Bennett one. Coach Marsh, you remember the Michael Bennett dance, right?
Michael Bennett.
All right, so Steezy has a point there. Yeah, this is the Michael Bennett dance. I'm trying to demonstrate this.
Yeah. Oh, man.
If you had a cup below my screen, I could stir it for you. All right, so Squabo, what's your guess?
What? You definitely want to stay tuned to next week's names after Norb just did that. Next week's names on this show are going to be about that dance.
I don't know if it's going to get any better than that or worse than that. Squabo, did you have this?
I didn't remember Chris Clemens celebration or Raheem Brock. Right. Bryant, I thought belly roll, but I did go with Bennett just because that seemed like something a wrestler would do.
Yeah. I didn't know who the wrestler was. I just knew Michael Bennett had that move, and I thought it was associated with something like that. So, Coach Marsh.
Yeah, same thing. I didn't know who the wrestler was, but Bennett just had so much personality. I mean, he probably has 8 different wrestlers dance moves with all the stuff he did. So,
well, he had the one that stood out. Yeah, he had the tiniest ass shoulder pads though. Right? His shoulder pads, it looked like he borrowed him off of a Little League kid who was 10 years old that threw him on there. The things didn't even like go past the edge. It's like the shoulder pad went to here, and his arm stuck out another 5 inches.
It was like a trap pad.
I was like thinking, does that thing even help? I mean, you barely has any coverage there, but it worked for him. NINJA-CRK in the super chat says Rams started in Cleveland, then they went to LA, then to St. Louis, and then back to LA for SoFi Stadium. So, yep, that was their cross country jaunt. So, Coach, did I already give you your point? I think I did. So, Coach with 5, Squabble with 4, and Steezy with 3. So, we got a tight little race going on here. Let's go to the scoreboard, YouTube. Look at that, March for OC. Dominating in the lead. The Zekinator in second, Cameron Hughes in third.
Don't run out of gas.
Fire Shoddy in fourth, and Schmilledog in the fifth. 4 players have just hit a 4-answer streak. Next question. In the second half now. Which Seahawks player is referenced by rapper Eminem in his song Monster? Mike Teal, J.P. Lozman, Josh Portis, or Russell Wilson? Which Seahawks player is referenced by rapper Eminem in his song Monster? Mike Teal, J.P. Lozman, Josh Portis, or Russell Wilson? Time is up. Oh, yeah, that's a slam dunk. It's a slam dunk. Bonus points for somebody who can rap the line.
It's like Russell Wilson going way back. And then I forget the line after that. In the trap.
Russell Wilson going way back in the draft. And
in the draft. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm a monster.
Yeah.
Turn nothing into something. Still can make that.
Still can make that. Yeah.
Anyway, I should know that better. I did a parody of that thing.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Rusty on my lyrics. All right. So that was good. YouTube all over it. Let's go to Steez.
Oh, yeah. It was too obvious. I said, bro.
I thought it was J.P. Losman. I thought he's like the guy you want to rap about, but all right. So Squabo, yes.
It's good that you asked about an Eminem song because I feel like he could, if anyone could, he could put J.P. Losman in a song. But yeah, I got it right.
Coach Marsh, I don't even need to ask. I know you already know this.
Yeah, man, this is probably gonna stun people, man. But you know me, Norm. I got a whole playlist that's Eminem, including something I just sent you that has Beast Mode in it. So I know pretty much every lyric to every Eminem song he's ever made.
Yep.
Big fan of the guy.
Yes. All right, let's go to the scoreboard, YouTube land. Marsh for OC drops to second. Cameron Hughes slides to the top. Norb's Peanuts in third. Seattle Ricky in fourth. And Fire Shoddy in fifth. 12 players now with a 3-answer streak. Here we go. Next question. Number 8. Which Titans player was stopped at the 1-yard line by the Rams to win Super Bowl 34? Was it Yancey Thigpen, Eddie George, Kevin Dyson, or Frank Wycheck? Which Titans player was stopped at the 1-yard line by the Rams to win Super Bowl 34? Yancey Thigpen, Eddie George, Kevin Dyson, or Frank Wycheck? Time is up. Ooh, pretty good memory by YouTube. Going back to the 90s. Wasn't that 90s? I think it was in the 90s. Like 99 or something.
99.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So 26, we got that. Kevin Dyson. The vacuum named after him after that play. Just kidding. There's no connection. Let's go to the YouTube, or let's go to our panel. Steezy, I know this is way before your time. This isn't quite the plate tectonic era, but you would have been a youngster back then. That's like 21 years ago, so you were just in diapers probably at this point. So, Steezy, what you got?
I say Kevin Dyson. Growing up, I had a whole lot of NFL history books, and I used to love watching just, past games. And this was one of the ones that I read a lot about. So Kevin Dyson.
Yeah. That's a famous, iconic play. Squabo.
Okay, kids, don't follow my example, but growing up, I wasn't as into books as Steezy. And I was into YouTube, though. And I actually do remember watching videos about this game. And I actually got it right, too, just based off YouTube, not reading. So read your books, kids.
Or watch YouTube videos. Coach Marsh.
Yeah, so as you know, Sherman Smith's my mentor, and he coached Eddie George while he was with the Tennessee Titans. And people forget the great play that the late Steve McNair made before to get him down close. And then they called the perfect play, but one heck of a tackle.
That was a really good tackle.
Dyson to keep him from getting in the end zone.
That was a great Super Bowl.
People who were with Tennessee at the time and with Seattle missed out on a Super Bowl by 2 yards. 2 Super Bowls by 2 yards. Anybody who was with Tennessee at the time and Seattle at theirs.
Was that the same? That was the same year as the Music City Miracle, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. If you guys don't remember that was
the controversial pass. They go down there, but then the greatest show on turf was also just getting ready to get rolling, and then they end up beating them.
Yep. Yeah, that was
great game. One of the best Super Bowls ever.
Wasn't it against Buffalo?
Yeah, the opponent. Music City Miracle was against Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's what I'm talking about.
Buffalo. Yes.
Yeah, another heartbreaking moment for Buffalo Bills fans. They're all hoping to exercise those demons of the past this year, which they have a pretty good shot. We haven't talked much about the AFC, but the Buffalo Bills look like a pretty good team. All right, so we got still a 1 point separation. Coach in first with 7, Squabo in second with 6, Steezy in third with 5. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Ooh, it's staying close. Cameron Hughes still on top, closely followed by March for OC. Norb's Peanuts in third. Fire Shotty moves up to fourth, and Schmiddag in 5th place. Next question. We're closing in on the final stretch. Number 9. Which Seahawks player was ranked second in his high school class with a 4.2 GPA? Walter Thurmond, Josh Wilson, CJ Wallace, or Richard Sherman? Which Seahawks player was ranked second in his high school class with a 4.2 GPA? Walter Thurmond, Josh Wilson, CJ Wallace, Richard Sherman. I didn't even know it was possible. By the way, time is up. Oh, yeah. That was probably one of the easiest questions in all of trivia. I didn't even know that it was possible to get a 4.2 GPA until I think I read that thing. I mean, not to brag or anything, but I was a straight A student in high school. I was a 4.0 student. I was a valedictorian speaker at my alum at Kent Meridian. But
but you still didn't land at the Harvard of the Northwest?
4.0. I thought 4.0 was as high as it goes. How do you get the 0.2? I was like, where's the 0.2 come from? I worked my butt off.
Well, you listen to these guys.
Weighted GPAs.
Yeah, listen to these guys.
I never had no 4.2 GPA.
They didn't have that back then, Norb. They didn't have it back then.
They didn't have it back then. 4.0 is as high as you got. So I feel like I got kind of ripped.
Norb, if you took like AP classes in high school, so I don't know if they were doing this back then, but for what they did for us was that if you finished with like an A, they would put more weight on an AP class. And so that's what I mean by a weighted GPA. So if you took, let's say, all 6 classes and 2 of them were AP and you finished with A's in all of them, you would actually finish with like a 4.4 or like a 4.3 just because you had 2 AP classes and you finished with an A in those classes.
Wow. Did you finish?
But see, back then, guys like Norb and I, we could take auto shop, home ec, get TA, take PE, take advanced PE, and maybe take a history class and get into UW, WSU, all those different schools. My son's best friend has a 4.7 GPA.
Are you serious?
And he tells me about these 7 AP classes that he's taken. I'm like, what?
Oh my gosh.
Kid's brilliant. I mean, he's brilliant. It's crazy. But yeah, I enjoyed those days where you could just, take a couple PE classes and still get into the school.
So I have a serious question. So let's say you have a child who had like an A-, right? So their GPA is like 3.8 something or 3.9 something, right? Does that mean they could do that extra credit thing and bump that thing back up to a 4? Or once you hit that blemish of less than an A, you're stuck can't be in the 4 range anymore?
No, I think it's possible to still go above as long as
based
you
on that weight?
did well enough in those AP classes.
Huh. That's interesting. I'm going to have to talk to my kids about that. Okay. Good to know. Very good to know. You learn something new on this show, and it's not always about football. Sometimes it's about bad words, and sometimes it's about GPA. All right, let's go to Steezy first. Something tells me that we're going to have sweeps across the board.
Yeah, this one was too easy. I mean, Sherm went to Stanford for a reason, and that's an Ivy League school, so
Squabo.
I expect nothing less.
Yeah. For sure. I don't even think we need to even ask. Let's just give you the points. All right, so we got going into this 876.
Can we do that for the rest of the questions too?
It is awesome that he went from Compton to Stanford, right? I mean, that's what makes the story great. I'm not saying anything negative about Compton, but that was part of his story, that he was able to rise through that and overcome, right? So.
And Doug Baldwin, also a Stanford guy.
Yep.
876. All right, so I can't make it easy because we're into double trouble now. We get into double Jeopardy questions here, but we got to first see the YouTube scoreboard before we get to that. Here we go. Cameron Hughes got the fire by the name. Got three streak answer going, so staying on top. Marsh for OC in second, Norb's Peanuts in third, Fire Shotty in fourth, and Schmilly Dog in fifth. And now things really start to change here with the double points. Here we go. Question number 10. True or false? Worth double. The Seahawks debuted their action green jerseys in 2013. True or false? The Seahawks debuted their Grinch Stole Christmas action green jerseys in 2013. True or false? Time is up. Okay, about what I expected. Most of you guys in YouTube land got the correct answer. It is false. Let's see how well these guys have been paying attention to the fits here in Seattle. Steezy for double points.
I said false. I just don't remember us wearing it until later on. And the first one that I got was a Doug Baldwin one, which wasn't until I think 2016 or 2017. So
that sounds about right. Squabs, you can take the lead back with the correct answer here.
Temporarily, of course. But I also got for the first jersey a Doug Baldwin one, and I also knew that it was later, so I got it right.
Coach Marsh.
Yeah, I feel like it was something with regards to them, either winning the Super Bowl or getting there twice, and then they kind of started revamping a few different things. But yeah, definitely got it. Kind of disappointed you didn't put something on the last name portion, Norbert. That would have been a great opportunity to. You just have the picture of the last name guy on the jersey.
Oh, actually, I didn't do this question. This was done by Peter Parker, so you can take it up. You can take it up.
Kind of like the Madden field goal. You're going to blame Peter Parker instead of just taking responsibility.
There's no blame. Peter Parker made this trivia. I just tweaked it a little bit, so you can take it up.
I thought you chose the pictures. Don't you choose the pictures?
Nope.
Oh,
he picked the pictures.
My bad.
Yep.
Peter
So
Parker,
you can take it up. You can take it up with
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Great work, Peter Parker. I love the jerseys that you put in.
No. Coach Marsh, don't try and sugarcoat it. You got to be better, Peter Parker. That's what he's saying.
I want Norb to be able to put some on top of that. Like he can do the overlays.
No, I could have added. I could have done more work and put a picture on there, but I did not. So I just
put
I took the easy
NorbCam
way
on the
around.
back of the Seahawks jersey.
Peter Parker, don't worry. The rest of us appreciate you. It's not Coach Marsh.
Squabble, quit trying to get brownie points with Peter Parker. Come on now. Yeah, all right, let's go to
Spider-Man coming after him.
All right, let's go to the scoreboard. Can the double Jeopardy points change things? A little bit, but not that much. Cameron Hughes still on top, but by a mere 70 something
We're down
points?
28-yard line.
67 points.
We're
77 points. It is close. Marsh for OC right on his tail. Fire Shotty only a couple hundred points behind him. Norb's Peanuts a couple hundred points behind him. And Schmilly Dog about 150 points behind him. So it's a close range with 2 questions to go. And here's the next one. Number 11. Worth double, of course. What is the Seahawks record versus the LA version of the Rams? 9-6, 10-5, 5-10, or 7-8? What is the Seahawks record versus the Los Angeles version of the Rams? 9-6, 10-5, 5-10, or 7-8? Time is up. Ooh, got you guys good on this one. This was my question, by the way. Had to keep it LA playoffs.
You need prehistoric knowledge to know this one.
This, you needed more than that, because I had prehistoric knowledge and I had to do some serious math calculations to factor everything in because, as they mentioned earlier from the super chat, we started in LA, they moved to St. Louis, came back to LA recently, and to calculate the wins and losses between Seattle and them during those periods took a lot of deep research. That's not something you just Google real quick. All right, thus the even answers across the board. Barely the majority getting that correct. 13 of you guys that one correct. 5 and 10. Steezy, I know this isn't a number that just sits on your head, so you had to have just pulled a little bit of luck out of there. But what did you guess, and what was your approach to your answer?
My approach was just to look at the one that looks the most logical. So I said 5 and 10, but then I don't know what got into me, but then I decided to switch over to 7 and 8, and I decided not to stick with my gut.
Oh, man, had a chance.
I'm reaping the consequences.
Had a chance to tie up Coach for the temporary time being, but Well, we'll see what happens with the other two fellas. It may not change at all depending on this, because this is not an easy question, but I'm curious to see if Squabble pulls out. Again, I don't expect any of you guys to know this, so you had to pull out some numerology, some kind of theory to psychoanalyze this question, and I don't know if you guys knew if it was me or not in advance, but Squabble, break it down for me.
I might be the wrong person to do this. I got it wrong. I said 7 and 8.
That's what Steezy said.
Yeah, I mean, back on the Bolt, Steezy has always been the stick with your gut guy. So I'm a little disappointed he didn't stick with his gut.
Yeah,
but I just got it wrong, and I'm not that good at this.
You didn't play any kind of, the larger number.
Theory?
No, there are a couple Scorpion theories I went into it. Like I thought about we lost 5 of the last 6, and those have been in LA. So it's been a losing record. I knew it was one of the losing records, but I went with 7 and 8 because I wasn't there before to see it.
All right. Well, Coach, you were there before. So
this was
right
at the end of the plate tectonic era, moving into the paleolithic era. Because back then there was the game where we had -7 yards of total offense in one phenomenal game. And then another game we went down and got shut out by a Robinson-led team. And then we've just not done well against them lately. So I didn't know the exact 5 and 10, but I knew that it wasn't even close to being a 500 record against. They're one of the worst teams we have in terms of longevity, just from the Rams LA standpoint.
So you guessed 5 and 10?
5 and 10, yeah.
Wow, Coach.
This was actually one of the easier ones for me because of the prehistoric standpoint.
Because you remembered how bad we were back in those early years.
Yeah.
Wow. So, Coach, this puts you at quite the distance here. I think you've got this wrapped up. I think it's an insurmountable lead, which kind of makes it less exciting. It's almost like you kind of ruined the integrity of the game.
Man,
because you're too far ahead. There's nothing to play for.
Yeah, but doesn't Steezy, he gets some incentive if he gets some extra points, like a 4-point question right or something like that. There's got to be some incentive. So how can I get Steezy or some points here?
Yeah,
so
like kind of like give me a quick toss to get 100,000 on the last play. That sort of
even
thing.
Though you're going to go to the question, man,
and then Squabble's going to pick it up and score a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm going to change it in the huddle. Yeah, totally. Squabble will be the guy hey, forget Steezy, man. I got my own.
Well, you could tank, Coach. You could have tanked for next week, but I guess that doesn't really help you.
Sit out this question.
No, I'll answer, but if I get it wrong, there might also be there must be a 1-point penalty if I
or you could forfeit. You could forfeit and just not play the game. You'll sit. You can just take the bench and just take yourself out of the game.
Here's the thing: you guys don't know if I'm the type of dad who tries to beat his kid in checkers at 7 years old, or lets his kid win at 7 years old.
I've known you for a long time.
You're going to find out what type of dad I am right now.
I've known you since '95, and I don't know that.
You've known me since Luke was 2 years old. You've known me since
but he was too young to play checkers, so I don't know what you would do to him. I'm missing that time in space. So, I guess we're about to find out.
I've known Coach Marsh a month or so, and I feel like I know.
Yeah, a full minute.
All right, here we go. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard with one question remaining.
Remember, I'm the guy that listens to Eminem.
Oh, Coach cool. Look at that march for OC. Moves to the top. Schmilladon goes up to second.
1 yard line.
Tyler Greaves to third. Cameron Hughes drops to fourth. NORBFAM Nation from out of nowhere gets into the top 5.
Man, I'm so glad my mom decided to play tonight.
Is she playing?
No, I don't know, but I'm just saying she's Marsh for OC, probably.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that she would be the biggest cheerleader. All right, with one question to go, here we go for all the marbles. Well, at least as far as YouTube's concerned. Here we go. Final question. Worth double. You may or may not know this. Who was the first NorbCam sponsor? Northwest Motorsport, Hunt's Plumbing and Mechanical, Louder Rewards, or Dovin Real Estate?
If we can say his name, is it double points?
Who was the first NorbCam sponsor?
Norb, I'm actually going to go ahead and answer now because I really love the color green. Oh, wait a minute. I just got ejected for answering before I'm supposed to go. I just heard hold on, let's go up to the booth. Yes, they just said that Coach Marsh, the third person, is ejected from the competition. So go ahead and freeze me out. I'm out of there because I would never beat my kid in checkers.
Oh, look at that.
I knew you were a good father, Coach.
So, Coach, with the
I'm sorry.
penalty,
of a lover.
with the penalty, disqualifies himself from the game.
Man, and I was down there at the 1 yard line. Maybe Marsh for OC. Okay, I'm going to sit back and root for Marsh for OC now.
Okay. All right. Well, the YouTube didn't fare so well on this one because, well, 9 of you got this one correct. Obviously, I pulled this one out of nowhere here. But yes, Louder Rewards was my first official sponsor back in 2014. And yeah, unless you guys were watching the videos, you might have seen their tag on a few of the videos back then. But only 9 of you got this one correct. So now we go to the panel. It's all or nothing here with a 1-point game. Someone's going to be the winner. And okay, Coach, I don't want to mess up the.
Steezy's got to go first.
Steezy's got to go first because he could take the lead with the answer. So all the pressure is on Steez here. So Steezy, for the lead, temporarily anyway. What was your answer?
I let Coach down. I got it wrong.
Hold on, duck fence.
It's not over. It's not over. Hold on. Because when Coach Marsh started doing all that stuff, Squabble got angry, threw a punch. Now I'm cut too. Steezy the winner.
Steezy, we all feel bad because last question, like you had it and you didn't go with your gut instinct. And so the lesson there, man, is stay with your gut instinct. I'm kidding you, man. I'm kidding.
You guys are awesome.
I just figured that out.
Well, Squabble, did you have a guess anyway? Although you are choosing to.
No, because I now that you say it, like I totally feel like I've heard you say Louder Rewards because I was your fan back then. But, and I still am your fan, just for the record. But I
don't know how much of a fan, apparently.
I went with the Dovin because it's the what you just did. And when we started, you were like, "It's my first sponsor." Like when we were on the Skype call before. You low-key said that too, misleading us.
Kind of like the Detroit Lion thing. Like you just kind of subtly said it, but
did I say first sponsor?
Like we're psychoanalyzing you tonight, Norb.
I think I meant first in a while.
You got us on the read option.
The RPO.
Well, I said I was trying to win, but then I was just going to try to give guys some snaps, so I kind of didn't mean it. I sort of meant partially what I said. But all right, so are we then officially going to give Steezy? We make a Steezy official victor here?
Steezy's the champ.
All right, Steez. Well, you unofficially or officially get to be the winner here of this. Yeah, I was curious. What did you pick, by the way, Steez? What was your guess?
Oh, I said what Squab said.
Dovin?
Dovin. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
You guys are some real ones. Thank you. I mean, it means a lot.
How could you not, man?
That's like
beating. You got the tie, like the Muhammad Ali of the night right here, man.
No. He's the Washington football team right now. He just beat Nate Sudfeld.
Oh man.
All right, let's go. Let's see who the final winner is in this contest. Who's it going to be? Will the
1 yard line, they better hand it to Marshawn on this one.
We'll find out. Here we go.
Please.
Give the ball to Marshawn. Do not throw the ball.
In third place with 9 out of 12, Schmilledog. In second place, 9 out of 12 is Fire Shotty. There's still a chance in first place with 9 out of 12. March for OC! March for OC with Cal's brother Zekinator in the runners-up. March for OC gets the win.
Wait, is it okay
Marsh ejected?
Is it okay that I played the game while the game's going on?
Isn't Marsh ejected? What?
No, this Marsh was disqualified. March for OC, though. Well, I wonder who March for OC is. Well, we got to find out soon. So March for OC, we don't know who you are. You can say so in the chat.
Congratulations. Great name choice, everything, man. Great name choice.
Take a picture of that. Email it to me at norb@norbcam.com. That way I know for sure who you are.
Hey, can I have that too, Norb? I want to frame that. I want to put in the backdrop one of the shows. Right?
Yeah, I'll screenshot this podium right here so you can see March for OC standing at the top of the podium. I'll screenshot that for you so you can have that for your framed memorabilia trophy room. Hunter Johnson, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you being in there. Is anybody in the chat going to admit to being March for OC? Who is March for OC?
Pops up in the chat.
Yeah.
Hey, whoever it is, clearly a very smart individual.
Oh,
Yes.
Seahawks fan base said it's me.
Seahawks fan base. Okay.
And
That's not a
Isaac
familiar
Matthew also
name.
said it's me.
Hey, trust me, they're all going to start claiming it. Right?
Well,
Why
that's what
wouldn't
happened the first time. But before I had even a system, I remember saying, "Okay, so who is it? And then everybody
Everybody's
said,
claiming to be
"Oh,
the
that's
winner.
me. It's me." It was Asian Dad. I remember the name was Asian Dad, and everybody kept saying, "I'm Asian Dad." No, I'm Asian Dad. So that's why I said, "Well, take the picture. Take the picture as proof." That way
It's
we know.
literally someone who's come to my football one-on-one courses. No doubt about it.
Someone who's watched at least one episode of Coach's Corner. I would like
Oh,
to
the
say.
Seahawks fan base is once again reiterating it's me. Come on.
So look, Seahawks fan base says Isaac Matthews says it's me.
Nick
Random
Boelter
says
had
it's
a
me.
hamstring problem in the second half or something.
DJ Squavo says it's me. Hold on a second. Andrew Taylor says it's not me. Oh man, just like a dog
It's
chasing his
not me.
tail in this thing. All right, so anyway, remember
Great
Asian
way
Dad
to end the
started
night,
it.
though. Great way to end the night.
That was good. So
stuff.
Marshall OC, just send me your screenshot of that and email it to me at my email right there,
Norb,
norb
it's
at
me.
norbcam.com. So yeah,
Stop, it's me,
we're not gonna find out in the chat because too many people are gonna be messing around. But now Seahawks fan base says in all caps, "Norb, it's me." So it's in all caps, so it must be true. So that's got to be.
Hey, Norb, I have to say, I don't watch. I can't see everything in the super chat the whole time. So what I'm about to say, it's kind of a blanket statement, but like I really enjoy how these super chats go in terms of the people that are involved with it. I'm sure there's some that are mean and get pulled out or whatever, but you guys do a good job of kind of trash talking and going back and forth without it getting too out of control. Now, again, I'm not moderating or doing anything like that, but I hope we can continue that kind of tradition here with this program because obviously whatever that you guys put on there, whatever you are putting in the super chat, that also reflects on how, Norb's doing. And this is his show and he works so hard. So it's kind of me saying my final piece, I guess, for the night too. But so keep on doing the great stuff with the super chat. Keep on some of the fun trash talking. I love seeing it. But you're doing a good job of not letting it get out of control. Because I watch some other channels that kind of do the same stuff. And man, those guys let the stuff just get
it could get pretty nasty,
crazy. And then it's not a classy show anymore. I stopped watching it. So good job of respecting Norb's and NorbCam, NORBFAM's channel here.
Well, and I appreciate that Squabo and Steezy both guessed that it was Dovin Real Estate, which perfectly transitions to let me just remind everybody that my newest sponsor, Daniel Dovin of Dovin Real Estate, is here for all of your real estate needs. So if you guys are looking for a house to buy or a house to sell anywhere in the Seattle area, Daniel Dovin's your guy. He's from here. He was born and raised in Seattle, grew up in the Greenwood area, and so he knows his place like nobody else does. So go check out his site. I'm going to bring up his title card again one more time. There he is, Daniel Dovin. We're actually going to do a little video collab tomorrow. We're going to do a little one-on-one, talking a little Seahawks football, a little sports history in Seattle, and see what interesting info he's got. But there it is, Daniel at DovinRealEstate.com.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. That's great, man. Very
206-310-3362. Yes, he's a very good looking guy. Yeah, we share that in common. He's got a 1-year-old daughter himself, both Asian descent, And hey, the guy likes my channel, so what can I say? But yeah, go check him out. And if you do schedule, like I said, a free consultation, you'll be entered to win a Cortez Kennedy rookie card. I got that. All right. So that is it. So this is my opportunity now where I love to just let the guys talk about a little bit of what they got going on their channel. It's Wildcard playoff week, so everybody's got videos going on. So let's start with Squabs. Squabs, what can they find on your channel? Tell them about it.
Well, it's the first week in a very long time that I'm not going to be posting a video. The reason that I'm not going to be posting a video is because Norb, we are setting up some live streams. And what we're going to do is not only are you getting the Bolt on Saturday, it's Steezy's going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. But also you're going to get Coach Marsh on my channel for the first time, actually, making his debut as an official Squabian. And he's finally going to pop on, and he's going to help me broadcast tomorrow. We're going to broadcast the Brooklyn Nets versus the 76ers game, which will be at 4:30 on TNT. And we're going to just give our reactions live during the game to set us up for this Saturday when we're going to live stream the Seahawks game. And Norb and I talked about it a little bit. I'm pretty sure we're linking up at halftime and then after the game to kind of talk about how things are going and everything. But I'm going to be live streaming on my channel for the first time, my reaction with Coach Marsh and my buddy Patch Hunt. the Seahawks playoff game versus the Rams. And we're going to keep following the Seahawks all the way through. And as many games as we win, I'm going to start live streaming them. So, Norb, thanks to you for the background that I got here and the background that you'll see premiering during the live streams, and for all the information and lessons that you've taught me about how to live stream. So thank you.
Absolutely, man. Glad to spread the love. I'm excited. And then we do a little cross collab since you'll be live streaming. We'll do some, talks, probably after the game. And, I think Coach Marsh, we talked also about doing some halftime discussions. So we can, again, it's like doing, in-game roundtable type of stuff. It's sort of what it is, like what the shows do with all their analysts talking during the game and all that. Real quick shout out to Samantha Coach. I'm not trying to pronounce your last name. Samantha Coach is what it looks like. Welcome to the NORBFAM membership club. Thank you for joining. I appreciate that. Thank you for your support. Awesome. Appreciate that very, very much. So let's go to Steezy A. Smith and see what you got going on. Tell them about your channel.
Yes, sir. So as you guys may know, just dropped a video probably about 4 or 5 days ago talking about the transformation of the Seahawks defense. If you guys haven't already, please be sure to check that out. An article came out along with it about a day ago. I think Norb posted it on his YouTube. So if you guys can check that out. If you guys haven't already, please be sure to do that for me. And I'm actually about to film a video right after this. Just a little preview of the Rams and the Seahawks. Nothing too big, nothing major. Just another 3 keys to victory video. So I got that coming up. Hopefully dropping sometime tomorrow, if not by Friday morning. And please just, if you guys haven't already, please be sure to show everybody here some love. It is a new year, so we got new goals, new things we hope to accomplish and to achieve. And, with each and every single one of you guys that show love and comment and like and subscribe and share, that really means so much more to us than you guys know. So if you guys continue to do that for us, please. Also be sure to get at me on Instagram. My sports page is almost 700 followers. Or if you want to follow my main Instagram, it's going to be Steezy_way, or my sports one's going to be Steezy A. Smith. And yeah, I think that's it for me. Once again, Happy New Year, y'all. And, I can't wait for this weekend. And hopefully next Wednesday, we'll be talking about the divisional round. So, once again, much love, y'all. And that's it for me.
All right. So certainly last but not least, Coach Marsh, you get the final word on the panel today.
Yeah. So I actually have the next 4 Wednesdays already blocked on my calendar. So, they are already set and ready for us to be doing this show. So I'm just counting on it. It's already locked and loaded, ready to go. We're going to have this thing happening. Just so excited for what everybody's doing with regards to the new year. Again, Norb's helping us all out tremendously. And that's why, I've been putting off, if you just said a year ago, let alone 8 weeks ago, that I'd be doing this YouTube thing or thinking about doing a channel, I'd say you're nuts. And now I'm saying, you know what? I'm going to have myself a channel. But I'm waiting until the season ends to launch it. So I don't know if it's going to be in 4 weeks or anything less, but my plan is to launch it the week after the season, which ideally will be after a great trip to the Super Bowl.
Excellent. All right. And I'm just excited. These collaborations are, what makes this whole community fun. I've known Coach Marsh again since 1995 from our days of doing video production for you when you were a head coach at Eastside Catholic. And these guys, I was fortunate to have been able to connect with Squabo and Steezy back when both of you guys weren't doing YouTube yet, when you guys were still doing radio over at Green River College. And we got to, collaborate there and to see where you guys are, how everything's grown in just what feels like a very short period of time, barely like a year, maybe a little over a year now, is pretty fantastic. And just how things have gone, reconnecting with you, Bill, when we hadn't seen each other except a couple times, but there's a long gap of time where we hadn't seen you, and then now to be doing this on a weekly basis,
it's unreal, man.
It's fantastic. I feel like we're back in our old days of brainstorming videos for Eastside Catholic. So I love the fact that we're connected in this way, even though I haven't seen you in person because of all this stuff. But I see you every day practically, and talk every day, or text message or email. There's always something, and it's fun. In some ways, we're communicating more now than we were even when we were doing Eastside Catholic.
No doubt about it. And the cool thing, Norb, is that I've always said that age is irrelevant. So to me, as much as I love that we have reconnected, it's collaborating with 2 young guys right here. And obviously there's, missing a couple guys on the show right now, but to have 2 other young guys who are aspiring and doing it, who, I'm learning from them as much as they're saying they're, learning stuff from me. And that to me is the greatest thing right now that's going on in a world where we're stuck inside and trying to do these things to finally, for me, feel like after a year now, nearly a year, like I'm energized again. I'm having fun again. And it's because of what you guys are doing. And the fact you guys have opened yourself up for me to come and just try something and experience it and just be me. And it just feels great. So again, love that we're relating, but again, really appreciate Squabble and Steezy, for just, again, age is irrelevant, man. Age is irrelevant. We're just having fun doing this together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I was going to just let you guys know for what I have coming up this week. So today's Wednesday, and so tomorrow I'm going to be doing another Ask Norb video session, which is exclusively done through Discord. So if you haven't joined yet, please check out the Discord link. It's in the description, and that's the way that people are able to talk with me on our live chats, our live streams. It's also, we'll have a special chat room where people can post questions. I'm going to go right through them and just answer as many questions that I can within a 1 hour period tomorrow. Did this before and it was a lot of fun, and questions from everything relating to Seahawks to just random anything stuff. So it's a pretty fun thing. So join the Discord, then you can be part of that tomorrow. And then on Friday, I'm going to be doing a Behind Enemy Lines segment with one of the YouTubers out there for the Los Angeles Rams, part of the Fan and Fan Network, so Trent. So we will be doing a collab Friday afternoon. And then, as I said earlier, I'm going to be doing a collab video, a little get to know my sponsor here, Daniel Dovin, of his Dovin Real Estate. We're going to do a little one-on-one, just talking a little bit football, a little Seattle sports, and just see where the conversation takes us. And maybe we might talk about, the real estate side, but it's really more of just talking about, being guys from the Pacific Northwest and here in the midst of a playoff run here. So hopefully something historic along the way. So then, of course, the football game on Saturday. So a lot going on. It's going to be an exciting week, man. Playoffs, you got to love it. You got to appreciate every day of it. The fact that we're one of only a few teams that are in the everyday news. We're being talked about in the sports shows, in the sports articles, on the radio, on YouTube. We're part of that conversation. And every time we get through one more round, it's just that many less teams, and you're one of those last few teams standing. It's a great feeling, man. So we're so fortunate that we've had this almost every season. But every time it happens, it's exciting. And to have it at home, granted, we're not in the stadium, but it's still that feeling that we get to host the game. It's going to be so much fun on Saturday. So let's go get this win, man. I'm so pumped. But I want to thank my guests, Squabo, Steezy A. Smith, Coach Marsh. Thank you guys for taking the time out every week to do this. I love you guys. It's so much fun. I look forward to these every time, as well as to Brian Abker and Seahawks Martin. You guys, same thing. One of these times we'll have everybody stay from start to finish. Sometimes flat tires happen, and sometimes you got to play piano and have dinner. Yeah. So life does take its priorities. But to everybody who was watching, everybody who participated in the trivia, who super chatted, thank you for your support. And just for everybody who was just here watching, again, please look these guys up. Please look at their social media channels and their YouTube channels. Check out their videos. These guys put a lot of work in, tons of research. These guys are really smart, way smarter than me. These guys make me look smarter. That's the honest reality of it. So give these guys a look because they really know their stuff. And these guys are the future broadcasters in sports. So please give these guys support. And, we'll just keep going our way. All right, that's it, fellas and ladies and whoever else is watching out there. Thank you again. And we'll talk to you next time. Go Hawks.